It's starting. All right. Check. All right. All right, guys. All right. Validation Boy live stream has been going for a year. Okay. There was 3 months that were taken off because of special circumstances, but I've been joined by a super panel tonight of all excellent guests, excellent former guests, and I'm very honored to have all of you guys in here. We are, in no particular order, joined by Gem Panda 2012. We have Nathan Oakley 1980. We have P. Mars. We have Timothy Osman, and we have Validation Boy so far. Hopefully, Tim, you can send that link over to Ed Upside Down Head. And I also was hoping that Cathexis can show up a little bit later too, and I'm hoping that Issa will show up too. So can commence whatever you guys were talking about before the show started. I know you guys are talking about just go ahead. Sorry.
Well, congratulations, Validation Boy, anyway, on 1 year.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
We were talking about P. Mars. That's what we were talking about.
No, we weren't.
We were talking about P. Mars. P. Mars is looking good.
Oh, well, that was very funny yesterday, P. Mars, when you, or was it the day before, when you got Riley?
Yeah, I got it.
That was hilarious.
That's an odd situation. I don't know, man, because it's. I've always suspected Riley because he had that video where he was talking about if he finds evidence that like the tides, if the tides are like lower that you can see farther, then that would prove the ball to him. And then when he went out and did his like Black Tower crap, that's what his findings found. So like he changed his, I don't know. So he had this, he deleted this video where he kind of contradicts himself and like.
I was talking about you questioning his sex life.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't seem like a real flat earther. Like, it seems like he's just here to get laid. I was actually thinking a lot of people in the flat earth are just here to like date. I guess that's what this is. I thought people were into like information and shit. Like, if I want to talk to people that want to get laid, I'd go to a bar, you know. But
that's the worst place to try to get laid.
Well, that's true, but flat Earth territory isn't any better. I'll tell you that.
I'm not getting laid, and going on past experience, that could be a sign that everyone else is getting laid.
Shit.
What time is it for you guys over there in Europe?
It's 1:16, I think, or 18. 18.
Tomorrow's Friday, so you could be a little bit tired though.
Yeah.
For work. You work like a morning shift, Jem?
No. I don't start till midday.
Okay.
You get to top 5.
Have you ever? Okay, I'll do first 5 in.
It's pretty bad.
In at number 1. What?
I was gonna say it's funny timing that this Riley stuff happens right when like this Weinstein has spawned like now Al Franken, which is hilarious. It is getting exposed.
Oh, he's groped someone, hasn't he?
Yeah, he posed for a picture with this like female soldier, and he's like going like this over her tits and smiling at the camera. And then she said like he kissed her when they were doing a skit. When they like it wasn't in the script or something, like he ad-libbed this kiss and like she didn't think it was appropriate. I don't know. And so now him like kissing her in this skit as a joke or something is sexual harassment. I don't know. I think he's a scumbag either way, but it's just funny what like Riley and this Harvey Weinstein, this has spawned like all this. It's like we've known this for years. Like everyone knows this shit is going on, but for some reason like it's okay to talk about it now. I don't know. It's funny. Like,
it could be viewed as it could be viewed
like
as
a distraction from something going on or something. I don't know. Because it's like sex. It's like some stupid sex story in the media to distract us from some shit going down. I don't know.
It's feminism gone wild, bro, and it's all made to support the guy. Yeah,
that's why it's funny that Al Franken is getting busted because he's a Democrat, and Democrats are like, you know, like the feminists. Get the feminist vote. Mm-hmm. So like all the other Democrats have already denounced him and all this shit. It's It's like instant
Well-
stab them in the back.
P, let me explain something, P. It's all about the gynocracy. Okay. And by having these women come out and say that these men are doing all this sexual stuff towards them, it supports the idea that men rely on women for sex and that men are so hungry for sex all the time. Even the gay men, even Kevin Spacey, it's just men. All men want is sex. Thank God for the gynocracy that fucking secretly rules behind the dark curtains of everything.
The matriarchy.
Yeah, the matrix. Oh no, it's the Patrix, according to Marmar Queen. It's the Patrix now. Let's see, everything that the Patrix has ever done has been done to provide ease for the matrix, for the matriarchy. So that's what it is. That's what men have done for centuries. Men have just been providing for women.
Gender roles are really weird now. Like when you date, like who pays? It's all fucking. It's awkward and shit. I think. I don't know. I don't like it. I guess I'm old fashioned or something. I don't know. I think it's easier that way, but
No, just go out with ladies that only basically you have a prenuptial agreement before the dinner that they're going to pay, and then you're straight.
so some women are different. Like some women will like let you pay, and then some women like they want to be independent. They're like, I need to pay and shit like that. So it's just weird. Like there's no rules anymore. It's like you can pay and offend someone, or you can ask them to pay and offend them. You don't know what to fucking do anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's easy. The answer is just don't go on a date where you're paying for anything. Don't ever waste your money on a woman. Period.
Never go on a date.
Never go on a date.
No, but go on a date, but
Never try.
Don't like take her out to pay for her. You know what I'm saying?
You could just run away from the restaurant together.
They call that dine and dash, right?
Yeah.
So how's Tim's dating life lately? How's Tim's dating life? What's going on with Tim?
I've been traveling a lot, so
No time for them hoes.
well, not really. No.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
really
basically-
care though, actually.
I know that's a good thing that you don't care. There's no way to live your life. You don't need to waste your most productive years, hunting tail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still pretty jaded from my last relationship.
How
Probably
long was that
about 3 years ago, but it was for 5 years.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude. So
So you guys started dating when you were like 17, 18?
nah, it was more like I was in my 20s, my early 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Oh,
had a house.
I thought you were in your early 20s.
We had a house. We had white picket fence, dogs, all kinds of stuff, man.
Oh, you were too intense for her? She couldn't handle the intelligence? She got scared and intimidated and had to run away?
No, we were both drunks, actually, basically.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that it was
Well-
really good at first, like it always is, but it started to turn sour. And I never stepped out. I'll say that I never stepped out. But as the females do, as you know, they kind of mostly this one just completely got out of her head when she drank. I mean, she was
Jekyll
one
and Hyde,
person.
right?
Yeah, dude, she was one person, just this sweet girl. And then she would have like one or two drinks and literally have some kind of a reaction, dude. Some kind of a reaction. And like it was cool at first, but I'm not the type to go and talk to really stupid people at bars, and that's what she always liked to do. So within a few months even of the relationship, I started not doing that, and she was always hitting the bars all the time. So I was like, eh.
I mean, you just you didn't get too lucky. I mean, she's a monkey brancher. You know what I'm saying? She's just always trying to hop, right? Always trying to hop to the next tree, and hopefully look for better resources. Typically, but in her case, it sounds like she was probably the one that just the main resource she was looking for was constant attention.
I think
Am I wrong?
I think that there's a reason why there's like a bunch of dysfunctional relationships and people aren't happy and shit, and that's 'cause,
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the family unit is like a threat to like the state, and they're actively
To the
trying
gynocracy specifically.
Well, they're using, I think, propaganda to break apart families and make people. There's this thing now called, what is it, upgrading? Like, it's a thing in dating where you're like, you're with someone, but you're always looking to upgrade them and shit.
It's
like
called monkey
fucking
branching.
Wow.
It's fucking insane.
It's called monkey
Yeah.
branching. And women, and they do it for resources. Women are programmed from birth, and they don't even realize it, and they don't even know that they're programming their own daughters. But they're always looking for more and more and more resources. So the guy who
But is it
provides
the
better,
ability? Is it just the cultural, I guess, outset of how the culture kind of runs, in that the male is kind of the breadwinner for the most part. So is it kind of implicitly built into the culture for them to be able, mostly when they're quote unquote better looking or whatever, to do that? Because I mean, it's like you can, you know.
well, then, I mean, here's the problem: is that traditionally these functions that we are bound to as a man, we want to work, we want to feel value, we want to feel validated, we want to feel that we provide resources for the ones we love, we want to protect. It's just natural. Women want to nest and to hoard. They're always looking for more resources. It's a biological impulse. They themselves have the child, then them and the child together become a unit, and now you provide and protect for them. This is all natural. But the thing is, in our modern feminazi, fucking leftist insanity society that we're living in now, women are not bound to this transaction. That's always been there. Men have always expected this women have always expected this of men. Women are not behaving this way because the government doesn't want them to. It destroys the family unit. It destroys everything.
And they have like women, they have to work and take care of the kids and like the house. So it's like, how the fuck is anyone supposed to do that? It's unreasonable. I don't know. This like two parents working system is not good, because the kid is going to be taken care of by like nannies and stuff, and that's more like learning.
Yeah, but at the same token, I have rich friends that have like ex-wives that they literally pay out like $5,000 a month, dude.
Oh, there's that going on too. But now there's starting to be like women are making more money, and men are going to be asking for alimony. Is like retarded in this day and age now, because it made sense back in the day when women couldn't have a job. But now, like, it's kind of stupid to have that whole system. I don't know.
And it was also
It's got to be case by case, really.
Yeah, and it was also very rare back in the day too, because of the fact that like the women didn't have any kind of education. They didn't have anything. Once they were bonded to that man was now, that's it for them. And if they betrayed him, if they did anything wrong by him, he could boot that ass right out of the house, and they truly have nothing. So women were more or less in their place and understood the boundaries of respect of a 50-50 relationship. Right now, it's more of an 80-20 relationship.
Yeah,
the women, because of the TV.
Yeah, they've given the women most of the power in the relationship for sure. Because like the woman doesn't need a man at all, really.
That's what they say, but they need us to do everything for them. They wouldn't have the infrastructure. They wouldn't have the television to watch. They wouldn't have the Facebook to go on if it wasn't for the men for them.
You're a goof, dude.
What are you talking about, bro? Why is that goofy? That's the fucking brutal truth of our modern world. Let me do my first 5 minutes, guys. Hold on. First in tonight was Daylight, Ohio. Second was my reigning champion, fucking Dick Tripping Balls. And then we had a Fake Plane News, and we had Schlumminger, and we had HSP Gang. And then we got Pet My Cat with those two. Whoever that is. That's you, P. Mars?
No, I'm not.
So your channel came back, P. Mars? So
yeah, I've had it for a while. Yeah. See how long it lasts, I guess. You know what I mean?
Nathan, what's up with you, man? How you been? Are you super tired right now? You told me you were sick earlier.
Yeah, I'm ill. My kid's ill. It's all good though. I'm all right. I had to be a year anniversary though. You've given me so much support, as much as people knock you. So yeah, I don't know, San Egan Music saying, "Look, check it out, Validation Boy Nathan on with the professional trolls." It's like, these are just people. Mars, just a guy. Tim Osmond, just a guy. Jem, just a guy.
Yep.
I actually wanted to talk about that because, I knew that just having us on the panel, even me on the panel or whatever, there's these people like Glenn and like Muscle Car Rock Lover and all these other mentally ill people that basically run their own mental asylum where they're just the dictator of it, where they just make shit up. And so I just, whoever wants to live that kind of life, I just say whatever, dude. Go ahead. But I actually like to. I'd rather talk to people instead of like. There's no animosity anymore towards me and thinking that, you know, oh no, people think that the Earth is flat and they're smattering or they're tarring the conspiracy crowd, or like I don't care anymore. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of guff with me that shouldn't have guff at all. I get banned in, you know, Jamie Brown's chat and all this kind of stuff because of my past. Because what did I do? I quote unquote doxed Patricia Steer like 2 years ago. I mean, there's just this built up animosity towards me, and I don't care, dude. Like these people. Somebody the other day said that I had the voice of somebody on this like 1980s or 90s film. Yeah, I was like, he's the bus driver. I'm like, he's like, he doesn't look like Tim, but you know, maybe he's got a disguise or something. And I'm like, dude, whatever, man. You know, once these conspiracies started to happen about me, like when I started hearing what I was, CIA, FBI, all this stuff, I knew that not only is the mainstream full of shit, but all of these fucking mentally ill people on this side of the internet are just as bad. Like nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. 99% of the time, it's crazy.
Exactly, bro. I'm a fucking pizza driver, bro. And people out like Flat Earth Reset and shit out there calling me like I'm some kind of fucking paid agent that has scripts and shit. I got a couple hundred fucking subs. I'm a fucking pizza driver with no fucking monetization on my fucking channel. And like my fucking shit even matters. You know what I'm saying? People want to say I'm a fucking shill and shit and that I work for people. Like, give me a break. Anyways, go on, guys. Sorry.
I don't know if it's their own insecurities or if they really believe it or if they just want to pitch a bunch of absolute nonsense to people and see if it sticks. I really don't know what it is, like what the intention behind it is, but I've heard it all about myself. And at this point, like literally, if nobody's noticed, I don't make flat Earth videos anymore. I don't talk about it. It's been like over a month, and people now are having sock accounts of me going in talking. And I mean, like, still, I am the talk of the town, even though I really don't even want to talk about flat Earth anymore. I just don't get it, man.
Oh, I do. I think. Well, I think the story needs a villain, doesn't it? I think that's the thing. You know, I think flat Earth is set up for people to feel somewhat heroic, like they're freedom fighters.
Tim's sequence of actions that he's taken has built an army of those villains, myself included.
Right, and you know, freedom fighters need an enemy, you know, a villainous enemy to fight against. And I think you've sort of fit that role quite well, or you have done in some respects.
Yeah, could you imagine a movie where the villain goes around and talks about fucking star trails every day? Like, there's 2 celestial points. Akbar! You know, like, no, dude. Come on, man.
I know, but it's things like, for instance, you know, if you look at it from, say, Dell's point of view, you know, his contribution to the freedom fighting is to, you know, put his platform out there every week for everyone. And you've gone along and taken it, and you keep going and taking it down, or you did, and so that feeds into the idea that you're trying to prevent his contribution. Do you see what I mean? It kind of,
yeah. And now that I don't snipe him, he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Now that I don't snipe him, like me and him, we'd go back with emails. I would have logical, coherent things to say. He would just say complete bladder back to me.
Yeah. But sniping him, I think ultimately, he liked it. You know, I think he
did. Yeah, I finally figured that out. The very last time I knew it. Yeah.
They even ask you now. They go, when's Timmy coming on?
Yeah, because look, what is it now, man? He gets on Pete Shea, which is on Jamie Brown all day long, or on Pete Shea's channel. He gets on Merle, which is some guy that, you know, of course, lives in the attic of his mom's house. And I'm not, who's the judge? I'm just saying, you look at the character of these people, you look at what they say. I mean, Merrill looks like he's got a script that he's written out for the next Dogmatic Dell show for the next week or something. I mean, you know, it's really odd. And then he just likes to hear the positive feedback. Like,
Right.
yeah, they're getting my water argument for sure for now, you know.
And
And
that argument is endlessly repeated in the format that he presents it now. You know what I mean? He has popularized that, or shall I say, repopularized Rowbotham's favorite argument.
yeah, level water. I mean, but it's like, of course, you're going to have to get rid of gravity and you're going to have to get rid of the spherical Earth. And then what you're left with is some other explanation like density and buoyancy or some kind of electromagnetic force. And then that's good enough, you know? And
I want to go around the horn, guys. I want to go around the horn on this one. So let's start with Tim, and then we'll go to P, and then we'll go to Nathan, and then we'll go to Jeremy. Okay, so Tim, who's your top three strongest opponents in the Battle of Flat Earth? Who would you say the people that took you on the best and actually made things a good fight for you? And the top three contenders against your viewpoint. Who were those people over this time?
none. There was countless times and debates and all of this stuff where they brought no evidence that fit their claims. They brought just explanations that were different from, you know, what the mainstream science was. So there was nobody ever made a Tim Osmond debunk of anything I ever said, ever.
Well, then there's also the whole validation boy intangible argument, which you never defeated. So, I mean, that's in another category on its own.
It is. It's an intangible argument.
I guess I'm number one then. Okay. So
no, I look to be challenged, and I look like, hey guys, like I'm looking around. Jaren's still in this. All these people are supposedly doing research. Like I'm looking and asking, hey, I would just go and just throw out about the star trails, right? And it wasn't even me about, you know, trying to be right or anything like that. It's just like, do you even know this? Do you even know that this is something that is just astronomy 101? I mean, you're redefining the shape of the Earth, and you don't even know that there are two celestial points. Like that was my major point in bringing it up. And so 90% of the time they didn't even know, or they argued and said it was fake.
And then
that was it.
And then I come along and just devalue the entire premise of that conversation on whole by showing that all these things in the sky are intangible, so you can't even use the sky at all. You know. But anyways, all right. So I'm number one. I'm Tim's number one. So P, let's get P Mars. P Mars, who have been your top three most strongest opponents in this entire thing?
Well, we have Mark Sargent with his unchanging arguments. It's very hard to debate against that when it hasn't changed in 2 years. You got Dell with the water's flat, and then VB intangible number one.
No, you don't have to just say that.
Undefeated.
But I believe that it is a strong thing. I believe it truly is a strong fucking argument. I'm dead fucking serious when I say it, and I just think it's hilarious that Tim and others want to sit here and act. Even flat earthers, other flat earthers don't even support me on this shit. Maybe Dell does a little bit in his own way, but you know, I think my argument and Dell's argument on that thing are similar, and they spawned about the same time, but they just kind of manifested in slightly different forms. But it's a strong argument that I honestly feel can't be defeated. And so, I mean, you're just going to say that those two people, I mean, like on a personal basis, like in debates, who have you found that actually brought it to you? P.
I guess like Cathexis was really annoying to discuss flat Earth with, because he knew a lot of these like little nuances to, like, I guess like the pendulum test doesn't work during a fucking eclipse or some bullshit like that, and so he can use that to debunk the test, which is ridiculous because it's still a repeatable experiment and shit. But he knew all these like little things. Like I'd have to do a lot of scientific research to argue with Cathexis, I guess. I had to read a lot
Okay.
of bullshit, waste my time.
I feel like
I think
you
he's
kind
a
of
Russian spy named Natasha.
but I think you're kind of like conceding that he has debunked you, but then like denying it in the same breath. It seems like, or am I
Well,
wrong?
I mean, there's the debates are on my PMARS channel. People can check them out and decide for themselves who won.
Okay. All right. Now to Nathan. Let's get Nathan. Who have been your strongest three opponents from the Globe side?
I've been racking my brains for about 2 or 3 minutes trying to think of three. I could probably name one, and that would be Negator XX.
Why? How? What has he said to you?
Just a lot smarter than me. that's the bottom line. Better at debating, calmer, cooler, more collected, more information, more wise. Just better than me. Prick. I hate him.
So he delivers stuff. He delivers the right stuff at the right time just to confound you. Is that why you feel like he has your number?
He's just got a much better understanding of the heliocentric model than I. You know, one day I may have that amount of information, but he's got it off the top of his head, and that's
all that data though.
No offense.
Does that data really?
Jem, for example, let slip one time on a private conversation. He was like, "I just Google it."
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's what you should do. I think, like when you're debating flat earthers, because they ask you all these like, "What's the diameter of the Earth, man?" It's like Google that shit. Like, why are you asking a dude on a debate panel? I hate when they do that. So like, I don't see anything wrong with using Google. Like, I learn a fuckload of shit from research on Google,
Right?
And people make fun of me for using Google, but those people don't know fucking shit because they're not Googling anything.
Yeah, but I agree with Tim Osman in that respect. That I kind of naively thought that people would have a really good understanding of what the shape of the Earth was and the measurements and the maths. I thought people would have at least. I mean, I haven't got a good grasp on them, but I knew they existed. Same with things like the South Celestial Pole. I knew it existed. I'd seen it. So to deny it, I didn't expect that when I came into Flat Earth. I thought people would have a good understanding of it. So they didn't, and they were just learning about it. So yeah, you can understand people like yourself Googling it on the spot. But you know, I like to know things off the top of my head.
Okay, all right. Let's go to Jeremy or Gem Panda 2012.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you get to know things off the top of your head sometimes by previously having Googled them. So anyway, best debaters. I'm certainly going to say Cathexis because I've had many great conversations with Cathexis. Who else? I think I fucking hate to say this, but I've got to say that John Stunger puts up a very fierce battle, and he is quite an opponent. Sorry?
What does he say that stumps you?
Well, I mean, he attacks science at its foundation, and that obviously makes it very difficult to present anything that is a result of science. You know, if you say, for instance, well, here's a scientific paper on this, you know, he may well reject the entire body of science because if, for instance, it was, you know, cosmology, he would reject it anyway, just because
it's from an institution of science. Is that what you mean?
Or
is he challenging the metaphysical existence? Like science isn't real because we live inside some kind of metaphysical projection or something.
He challenges it from the point of view that it fails to comply with the scientific method.
Okay,
but it's quite an in-depth argument, and the way he delivers it is he's very demanding in the way that he delivers it, and that is it's quite difficult to deal with. I mean, the other person I should probably mention actually is JLB, because although he's not a flat earther, you know, sometimes he argues for geocentrism. He argues, you know, he argues dino hoax, and you know, he's quite a tough cookie as well, you know. Who
Okay.
haven't I mentioned? I mean, Nathan puts up a good battle. It would be wrong for me to leave him out as well.
So what has Nathan ever said that stumped you?
Well, Nathan argues
Really
from
good.
a sort of a philosophical point of view, and philosophy, or your epistemology, your knowing, your theory of knowing, your personal theory of knowing, for all of us starts with assumptions, and that is unavoidable for all of us. And if you can expose that, to a lot of people, that is quite a shock if they get to grips with the idea. The problem of hard solipsism is difficult.
Does Nathan's large subscriber base strike fear in your heart?
Well, I think one of the things with Nathan, I'm sort of getting quite personal now, but I think Nathan and I, to an extent at least, are perhaps cut from the same cloth. And, that means that sort of, I think when Nathan and I have a tangle, that even though that tempers can get frayed at times, it's unlikely to ever sort of devolve into, the wreckage that some things descend into. And I think
with other people.
And sometimes that's just you know what I mean? Sometimes I think we all allow that to happen just to make it end.
Okay.
We're actually looking for that, you and I, Jeremy. We're actually looking to have that kind of conversation, and getting passionate about it is part of the fun.
Yeah, but I think just because of the way we are, I think because of the way we've been brought up, because we've been brought up to behave in a certain way, to have certain manners, I just don't think that kind of thing can ever happen. Or, well, not that it can never happen, but it's just a lot less likely to happen between us,
Okay, so thanks, guys. All right, so we've been joined by, I believe for the first time ever in history on my show, okay, indeed, Martin Liedtke. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks, BB. Thanks, mate. I had to come and tip my hat. Congratulations on your first year, man. That's awesome. Good to be here, man. Good panel, good people. So I'm just poking my nose in. I'm not up to much, BB. I'm really baked and it's late, so I just hanging out with the guys, if that's all right, and just pay my respect.
Yeah, no problem.
Pay my respects to you. And,
thanks, man.
Just chilling, like. It's good to see you all, anyway, guys. Nice one.
Okay, I won't make you answer the question unless you don't want to.
No, well, I was wrecking my head as well, and do you know what it is? It's Negatrix, because I had him in my PMs, my private comments, for going on 3 months, coming up to me with massive equations that he knows I couldn't possibly understand concerning build its leaning away and things that I couldn't possibly understand. But he allowed me to that experience to actually try to understand, yeah, which give me put me on a different level of understanding. So for him coming along, he sort of, give me that unique perspective. But yeah, that guy's from a NASA think tank or something. He knows too much. He's spooky. Apart from that, yeah, maybe Jem. He gives me a terrible argument, but I'm mostly argumentative, so he just puts up with me because you're never going to be able to win an argument with me because I'm terrible. And apart from that, Tim, and that's it. The legends, and that's about it.
So with Jem, do you ever remember any specific night where he really stumped you on one particular thing that got you real frustrated or anything?
No, not really. No, not really. Because basically the things he believes in are beliefs, and the things I know about are knowledges. There's a massive difference, isn't there? So
wait.
Laying down the gauntlet there.
Describe
I don't want
to define.
Debate. Oh, here we go. Go on then.
No. I'm not trying to debate, Martin. I'm saying define knowledge.
All right, then.
Define knowledge for you.
Now, I post on my site, on my channel, a image, or a so-called image that I got from an original NASA image of so-called Apollo shuttle, the limb that actually lands on the surface of said moon. Only when you mag up on it, there's screws missing, tweeters on it, bits of MDF, an old 1970s television aerial, a really bad one, by the way, plastic aerials, bits of shit everywhere. This thing's terrible. How it never fucking fell apart getting it wherever it went, I'll never know, because I could do better. That was made in Blue Peter. All right. And yeah, NASA Arts and Crafts Department. So he got upset about that. But screws missing going to the moon, biggest investment outside of what CERN in recent days. There's something wrong there. They should have at least had some quality control on the screws. I would have. You're sending that to the moon. Make sure screws ain't missing. Things could go wrong. There's many now.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not wanting you about Jeff.
Okay. We've been joined by Cathexis. It's great to have you on here, Cathexis.
What's up,
Woo,
brother?
woo. Yes, brother.
Congratulations on the year, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Definitely. I figured I'd join the Trollcast for a little bit.
This is a mega ultra trollcast. This
It
the
really
troll-
is.
It
Isn't
is.
it? It's like the
I'm not a
ultimate
troll.
trollcast.
When have I ever been a fucking troll? I've never been a troll.
Well, you're the exception.
Once.
I'll give it up.
You're the
Yeah.
exception.
Who's not a troll in this fucking show? I got Issa's
Thank
the
you.
least of a troll.
No,
Issa's
Issa.
the least of
He's not a troll.
He says
He's just
troll
kind of a
tendencies.
Well, he's troll friendly.
Yeah,
There
troll
you
friend.
go. Yeah.
I'm
And I'm
troll
on the
friendly with one account.
It's more like an old school hangout. This is like what it looked like
Yeah,
2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
It is.
that's true.
Yeah, I
isn't it?
started thinking, hey, VB, the better question is that I started thinking of answering your question of who's the best to debate, but really the question should be, who's fucking triggered you the most? Because I was going to say,
Oh,
Mark
God.
Taylor, I always want to
it
kill him.
would have to for me, it would be JLB.
My answers are the same as they were for the first question.
Oh,
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. So.
Who got you to react the hardest? Like, who's
I'd say that's true for you, Issa. JLB definitely had you triggered
oh,
that
man,
day.
yeah. Well, that was back.
And of course,
Yeah, I was in a.
well, go ahead. Sorry.
You've been exposed.
Huh?
Tim Osman. For that rap for certain.
Yeah.
I've never even sat through You've Been Exposed or the other one for more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah, same here.
I couldn't do it.
He'd be all racist and shit, like the other one and shit.
Yeah, the other way. I caught that too. You mean Sanchez?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, slow Sanchez.
Actually, I know who's got me the most triggered was Antonio Zubarats.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I've seen that.
Yeah,
With what?
True.
What?
Yeah.
With
I
what?
can't
too.
remember what he said.
It
but-
was him and you and Negator that one day.
Yeah, it was
I
just
think, going on.
basically him and I calling each other names.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just gradually escalating names.
Oh, and I'd like to
Okay.
answer your question, Validation Boy. I think the number one
Well,
person
okay,
probably given.
before you do Cathexis, there was this one time, guys, that I was doing a show and I was very young at doing the fucking live streams, and Cathexis went live too, and I'm just think we weren't aware of each other going live at the same time, and I fucking in my psychotic Glenn style fucking mind for a moment thought that Cathexis was like trying me or something. I was so prideful.
Do you want to hear the audio? Because
And
I
I
recorded
fucking-
it.
Oh no!
This shit's great, dude. I love
It is, bro. I deleted it. I don't even have it. I deleted it forever.
Yeah,
So
I
you
got
have it.
right
Send it to
here.
me, man. I guess. I mean, I don't know.
It's,
I
it's
was-
on the agency database. Cathexis can
Okay.
pull it up.
Okay.
No, that shit was funny though because you didn't know I was going on at like 8:30 every Monday.
Yeah.
And you just like went off on me. It was great.
I was talking such fucking bullshit. Anyways, I fucking deleted that off that fucking trollcast there, that episode. All right. So, anyways, answer the question: who's your three most triggered, three most strongest opponents in this whole thing ever?
Well, I do got to give credit to Negator and Jeremy. It's the reason why I reference them all the time. If you listen to me have conversations about the oppositional ideas and whatnot, even on Globebusters, I defend them because they have been able to bring the most information to the table and contend with what I've been, giving back. So I absolutely give them credit until Negator decided never to talk to me again because he couldn't deal with my arguments, but that's on him.
Negative.
Jeremy at least will talk to me. And then in the third position, Tim. Tim, for the most part, I mean, we've had a lot of, back and forth conversations early on. We got to a point where we just stopped, I think, because we both heard each other's arguments for so long. And so, but yeah, I mean, those are the three that you pretty much hear about the most because they're the ones who put in the work for it for whatever fucking reason. Either it be GCHQ or they're bored. I still can't tell.
So, what does everybody think of Tim's Geodesy stuff? What does everybody think of that?
Well, I mean, Geodesy's real, and it definitely. Well, if you look at, Jesse Kozlowski's work, he claims he's measuring, the actual sphericity, but with two theodolites being. It doesn't matter what distance they are apart each other. They're going to measure this vertical divergence. I mean, it exists. I've never done it. I talked to the man for several hours, and I believe him. I don't think he has any reason to lie to me. He's been doing it for 30 years. But that's not their normal method of doing it. They usually do it mathematically based off of things that were established back in the 30s and 40s, at their different 0 points, essentially. It's quite a complex. It's very complex, actually. Geodesy is retardedly complex. And it's above my mind. That's why I don't use it or go against it.
It's something that if you study enough of, you'd be like, this is completely pointless unless I was actually going to apply it in some kind of a job or something. Like the math gets ridiculous even in the basic geodesy, really. And yeah, I spoke with Jesse as well, and that's about as far as the extent of my knowledge is what he's told me. And there aren't many. I guess what is it? There's planar, and what's the other one?
95% of surveyors are planar surveyors, and then
or more,
and then geodesists are mathematicians, and geodetic surveyors are the other 5%, and they're the on-the-ground surveyors who are essentially doing large swaths of land. So a planar surveyor is only doing 10 by 10 mile range, and they treat it as flat, hence the name planar surveying. They consider it negligent within those frameworks. But then you get up to geodesists, and that's actually applied mathematics. It's not even considered surveying. So it's just it's complex. I'll put it that way. But yeah, it's mostly.
I think the best way for somebody to maybe see for themselves the effects of the shape of the Earth would be to look at things from a distance. It seems like on most days, if you have something that is being obstructed by what looks like water or land or whatever, that would be kind of an inkling to most people that without filling a bunch of ad hoc stuff like it's atmospheric conditions or whatever, that you can see it. But yeah, I mean, not many people are actually going to go and get this. And some of this equipment, like you could go and rent some geodetic surveying equipment for pretty cheap, but some of this stuff that you would want would be much more expensive equipment that probably, I don't even know if they rent that stuff out, truthfully, some of this.
It's like $40 an hour for like the cheapest of theodolites, and then you got to even understand how it's used. And then one of them really wouldn't do it for you. You need two to verify the method that that Kozlowski's talking about. And like I said, it's even from his mouth. They don't use that method. It's just a method that is known historically, that you can put two in two different locations, measure particular angles to each other, and then that divergence of the vertical is measuring some type of divergence, which is
they're extremely precise equipment.
Absolutely. Now they're all digital. Now they've got GPS built in. Now, I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous, and they've been like this for 25, 30 years. So Jesse Kozlowski actually had to go back and find ones on eBay that were used back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and he bought a couple of them because he likes the old school. He's kind of, a nerd in his own field, which I respect. So yeah, it's highly complex in my opinion.
Put yours in there. Are you sniping the show?
That would be the funniest thing I'd ever
It would be
seen.
cool. I kind of understand how to do it, but
Start ejecting everyone.
I've never done that. That would be
I'd
great.
pay to see that.
Wouldn't it be great if I turned and I became like all of a sudden just like a crazy
That'd be so.
sniping?
You mean like the show everyone thinks you are?
Yeah. That would be great.
I'm blushing being here with Miss Patty Steer. I'm absolutely blushing. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Went to that conference that I guess everyone sort of knows about, even love it or hate it, but it was fun. It really was fun.
Nice.
Hmm.
As long as the people that went, as long as they had a good time. I mean, who cares, really?
Yeah, the people there had a great time, and there was a lot of bonding. And whether or not it was a flat Earth conference or just a conference of model train collectors, on that level, people interested in the same thing got to meet each other and hang out. And just on that level, it's not a negative. So even if
I would like to point out that's kind of why I have stuck around, because believe it or not, I am like-minded to flat earthers in that I share a lot of the same beliefs. Mainstream media is obviously lying about a lot of stuff and pitching agendas, and a lot of stuff about 9/11 isn't true and stuff. So, I mean, that's why I've been around. And of course, I've been shunned out for some of my tactics, but I've been better behaved.
you have, I think.
I have.
You have.
I have.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen you do anything really horrible for a while.
I think Timmy just wants you to tell him he's been a bad.
Oh man, this is gonna be Flat Earth Reset 3's next video right here.
Maybe on
absolutely.
How about this? On all three, we say hello, Reset, because he'll be
nice.
He'll be on. Let's do it. I'm ready. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Reset.
What's up, Reset? Hopefully we'll put that in there, because we're all shills and we're all potato crew and all this kind of stuff. And when's the next?
He's gonna say my logo is some type of Freemason logo or some shit.
There's no real potato crew. I don't understand where that comes. I think it's flattering if somebody wants to say that, but does that mean anybody who's been on a show with me? Or that would mean Gem Panda's a potato. That means Tim's a potato, and Validation Boy, and P Mars.
If ever I got any.
You're a Gem potato. Really.
Tattoo. You know what I mean? Like PC.
Well, is there do you have to get beat in to get into the gang? Is that what he thinks?
No, you got to get
some
sniped.
potato crew gang.
Get sniped by Timmy to get in.
Now you get love bombed.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Apparently,
within Flat Earth, Tim, you use the term love bomb. It's strange how in the past year or so that Flat Earth has learned a lot about the term love bombing and the terms about narcissism. That's become a thing within Flat Earth, people using that term against each other. And prior to this past year, not very many people were talking about narcissism. So even if all of us here don't agree on the shape of the earth, we have learned a lot of things together. We really are in this corner of the internet willingly together, and which kind of makes us all part of the same crew. Call it whatever crew you want, but we're people that are against a lot of the things that mainstream says. Maybe even Gem is against a few things.
I call it the conspiratard crew.
Yeah.
It's up easy at this point.
Are flat earthers inherently narcissists?
I don't think so.
Anybody chime in? I mean, aren't we in a way? Aren't we all? I mean, I'm a confident guy that puts my material, my content, my fucking face
that's
out
not
here.
a narcissist, though. That's the common.
Is there, in some ways, it can be argued
There's
that Tim is a narcissist because he wants to hear his voice. He wants to dominate arguments. P. Mars has narcissistic tendencies. Everybody here has a little bit of narcissism. That's called confidence. There's a thin line between the two. So so I think that narcissism, it's also inherently more culturally acceptable at this time. We have these YouTube channels. They're free platforms. I think that there's a lot of people on YouTube that don't really like showing their face or never will show their face. And, or do anything like that that's that's at narcissistic levels as others, and that because of the
Yeah, I
fact that there
think
are
it's
these
a-
gradient because of the fact that there are these gradient levels.
Mm.
But I think
it's a reality. It's a reality.
I think
It's a
it's
sliding
possible
scale
for us-
for sure.
I'm just trying to be introspective. You know how I like to do in my show, trying to be introspective, and I don't think that it's something that can really be used against people who are honest with themselves about it. And I'm plenty honest about it. So what do you guys think?
I think as you said, I think that you could find narcissistic tendencies in all of us, but I think the problem comes when you start labeling a person as a narcissist.
I agree.
As if they have no other qualities and tendencies, and this one thing dominates their entire personality, and that isn't an accurate description of anyone that you could care to mention.
Are you talking about Antonio?
I think it's a sliding. I think it's a sliding scale.
I seen him say that a narcissist, a psychopath, and a sociopath were all the same thing.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. I mean, sociopaths and psychopaths, they're kind of similar, but there's a reason why there's two different fucking names. Like, why would they create two different diagnoses if they're the same thing? So I don't know what the hell he's.
No, there's a complete distinction, and what's funny with him is that he's psychologically projecting like a narcissist would, and he's actually called himself out almost reading some of this narcissist stuff and be like, oh, that could be me right now. He he literally is a very, very heavy narcissist. And yeah, there are some people at the top that kind of start to get followers. And I've made this point before where in life do we get the chance to go and talk to 100, 200, 400 people at a time? So there is a certain level of ego. Yeah, a certain level of ego and narcissism that happens to people when they start talking to a bigger crowd that they usually wouldn't be talking to.
And
let's hear what Issa had to say. Issa, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. Well, no, I was gonna say like narcissism implies something not good, and so because it's not, it has that kind of reputation to it. I think maybe it's not the proper term, because I think what we have to have is, like you said, there is a fine line, but I think there is a line between confidence and narcissism, and that's.
As content producers, we're providing ourselves, we're sacrificing ourselves and putting our faces out there and stuff so that we can give people out there something to look at and something to enjoy and something to make their lives a better thing. So
that's the presuppose what the motivation is. That's the thing that and that's where the discernment comes in for any of us. It's like, look, it's like Patricia, it's like, people can say this, that, or the other thing, but what are you other than a shine? Like, honestly, I have heard more women say to me that if they could, like, they aspire to be, everything that, let's say, you, I don't want to belittle it by saying what you appear to be, but really what you appear to be is a graceful older woman who has control of her senses, is passionate about what she believes in, and is beautiful. And it's someone that is, I can't not, every girl that I've talked out here, and believe me, I try, I'm fascinated with beautiful women. As the thing is that, and a lot of them have said how, dignified you come across as something that is good for them, regardless of your opinion about the fucking shape of the earth. I mean, there's some people I know that, women that aren't flat earthers, let's say, but they still recognize that you're pretty cool and that, it's like, you're doing what you want to do. It's admirable. It's like, so I don't think, forgive me, I'm kind of the thing, but it's not a narcissism thing.
Thank you. And narcissism in general, a lot of people think is just thinking you look good or that you're smart or better than other people. A lot of people will call you a narcissist because of that. And then they say a lot of YouTube content providers, because our faces and names are out there and we'll talk about ourselves, and that makes you a narcissist. But there's something else that's about narcissism, and you'd have to do research into that. And Nathan Oakley could probably define it better than me. There is a thing that's not really a disease. I'd call it a mental disorder of narcissism, which creates a person that does a certain series of behaviors that's based in their pure belief that they themselves are inferior. It's not based on thinking they're great. They might project that, but that's what they really think, is they are horrible, flawed, evil, dark person.
They
And
become sad.
yeah, they go through a series of behaviors in order to hurt other people after drawing them in, buttering them up, and building them up. And they tear them down. And that's the narcissism that was originally talked about when we started discussing this. Not the kind where Narcissus looks in a pool and admires his reflection. So that's the one that is the really dark side of the whole thing. I'm all
That's
for
like
people
the psychological narcissism.
yeah,
That's like
there's
to the term.
actually
Yes.
there's several kinds. There's aesthetic narcissism, emotional narcissism, and cerebral narcissism.
Mm.
And it depends how it's fomented, you know, how it's being used against somebody else, and what qualities are they trying to go after in that other individual. It's usually a perfect mirror. It's a projection of what it is that individual, as you just stated, like has a deficiency within themselves. So, you know, there are these different categories of it. But I mean, VB makes a good point. I mean, everybody putting themselves out here, it almost is like a fine line. When it gets to egoic, dark projection, then yeah, we could categorize it as narcissism. But people who do go out here usually do go out here for some type of egoic benefit in some way. I'm not gonna lie. When I go out here, I prefer to be in the debate situation because I know I make good arguments and I speak well. It's fun.
But you're providing and working for people to consume. So you're actually, I mean, you're getting something.
I'm not saying I'm a narcissist. I'm saying there is still some egoic value in it.
Doesn't this social media stuff kind of promote narcissism? Like people taking
selfies.
Well,
absolutely.
It's about output. Yeah. It's about output versus input. It's about output versus input.
There's healthy narcissism.
What do you take from it? What do you contribute to it? You know, it's almost like I want to see everybody's stuff so much that I feel like I owe everybody else putting stuff out myself. I owe it to everybody because I want to see everybody's shit. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I can see that.
Yeah. Healthy narcissism, that is like healthy self-esteem. And then there's too much self-esteem when you're becoming vain and egocentric, and it's hurting your relationships with others. That kind of narcissism. But the other kind, when people are actually trying to thwart others, lie about them, run smear campaigns on them, and that whole thing, that's the super dark part. And we have seen that within the flat earth realm, or the flat earth or globe earth realm, you know, the one we all exist in right here in this chat.
Yeah, well, we all learned from this that we should not burn the flatbread. Like, you do not burn the flatbread.
Flatbread.
What does that even mean? What do you mean?
Different.
It's a long
an inside
story,
joke.
which, by the way, I never did burn the flatbread. So we can wonder from that story forward how much was true. I'll show you a symbol now. That's a 0.
Having
Anyway.
narcissistic traits is something that everybody has at some point, and at some degree, we all display narcissistic traits. But that's,
what about Flat Earth Reset 3? What about Flat Earth Reset 3 and his narcissism? What about that?
We'll get to that. I just want to get this one point in, which is that there's a big difference between categorizing people and how they behave in their character traits on a case by case basis and a relationship by relationship basis versus a narcissist. And that's a distinction which Thomas Sheridan just said, we'll just call that person a psychopath, which is what that person is when they do just that, as opposed to everybody who will display narcissistic character traits at some stage on a scale. Some people are more narcissistic than others, some people are more empathic than others, but that doesn't make them a narcissist. And narcissist in itself, the word has been co-opted to dress down psychopaths. Psychopath's a really hard-hitting word that's also been co-opted, but psychopath is that person as opposed to the trait and the type of behavior.
Very well put. Yeah, I agree with that.
We live in like kind of a materialistic, narcissistic society, so you could pretty much apply the term narcissist to just about anyone these days. Like, I know when we grow up, we learn the moral, like, don't judge a book by its cover, but like no one really subscribes to that, because I know for a fact when I go play basketball and people see this like awkward, nerdy white guy, no one gives me credit. Everyone thinks I suck. And then if I play well, they're all like, they got like shock on their face and stuff. And I think it's kind of funny. I kind of like proving people wrong. I like it if people underestimate me, and then I like going out and proving them wrong. So I don't know, but I definitely think that's like true across the board for a lot of people. A lot of people are very like materialistic, I think. So I don't know.
So confidence breeds survival. You know, it substantiates survival. But
That's
now that survival is pretty much taken care of for most of us in the West, that confidence gets used for aggressive behaviors in other areas of life. And then since we live in a kind of a bit of a matrix, I guess, socially, this is the way it manifests.
Well, yeah, it's each one teach one though, and that's the thing is that we've been like this is what brings us all together in the idea that we're looking at a system that sought to become the parents, you know, or take the place of like missing parents and shit at this point. And so the idea is that like, you know, no one knows exactly how to handle all these emotions because they don't really necessarily have people that are responsible enough to be able to even teach anyone how to do it for themselves.
Did you view your teachers as missing parents?
No, man. I mean, I'm
Like, as in the nanny state and big daddy
right,
government.
right. And that's what we've been. And look, the thing this is the time for is what's the term? Autodidact.
Autodidact. Teach yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yourself. We have the right to self-government, and the thing is where it's not about like all you can do. Like confidence is contagious, and that's why I was bringing up people saying I'm kissing ass back there. But no, it's a good. It's what I'm saying is that all of us, you know, by coming up here, I think we're confident in what we're bringing to the table, and we're like, what? And so when you do that, you inevitably face the opposition, and the opposition, as I've come to learn, is like this: is that, like, and I put it like this: is that there's been people in my life that I've wanted to impress, and with whatever I do, the art or this, that, the other thing. Now the thing is that you go and you actually look, you know, let's say you do your thing and nobody appreciates it. That person didn't appreciate it. But then you go and look at what that person actually appreciates, and you're like bored. Like it's like, oh my God, like this is so things aren't what they appear to be. And all you can learn to do is eventually just be yourself. And I think any of us in here are willing enough, you know, are willing to exercise that narcissistic tendency in the hopes that it would spark some kind of thought, because there's too much latency right now. And there's not enough direction, and that's what I think any of us trying to do are doing. That's why it saddens me that Cathexis has been barked out of the conversation to a certain extent, and obliged in doing his own thing, though. But it's like these voices are needed. You know, this is needed. Like Patricia, everyone is needed in this. Oakley, Nathan, you know, everyone. Thank goodness everyone's got a little bit of narcissistic, you know, shit to be sane in an insane society. You know what I mean? It's there's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick.
Yeah, I just read an awesome quote from Aldous Huxley about that. Actually, he was talking about. I could go pull it up real quick. Let's see here.
That's a good quote with even like in this. I don't know if you guys have watched the Jaco Pastorius documentary. Jaco Pastorius, an amazing bassist. He went insane and all the rest of it, and he revolutionized the bass, the music, the instrument. And if you could check it out, it's like, you know, this guy makes a point because he said, who's to say that mental illness isn't what actually gives birth to this creative spark of things?
Yeah, a lot of painters had a streak of mental illness.
Right.
I mean, great painters.
Is it cool if I read this quote? This is Huxley.
Yeah.
He says, the real hopeless victims of mental illness are to be found among those who appear to be most normal. Many of them who are normal because they are so well adjusted to our mode of existence, because their human voice has been silenced so early in their lives, that they do not even struggle or suffer to develop symptoms as the neurotic does.
Wow.
Nice.
They are normal, not in what may be called the absolute sense of the word. They are normal only in relation to a profoundly abnormal society. Their perfect adjustment to the abnormal society is a measure of their mental sickness. These millions of abnormally normal people living without fuss in a society to which, if they were fully human beings, they ought not to be adjusted. That's the end quote.
That's a great
I like
quote.
that one.
So true. We all know people who are what we say living in the matrix, and you wonder when it is they sold out and became just complacent with society as opposed to questioning what's going on. And with some, you don't even realize that they never did sell out. They just never let their mind open to consider any other possibilities.
They never had a chance.
Yeah, never had.
It got to them, as the quote said, and they get to them so early. Yeah. And you know what's interesting about mental illness or psychosis I've seen studies done of brain, yeah, what is it called? EKG meters or whatever, brain waves and such.
CT
that
scan.
shows, yeah, excuse me, that psychosis and spiritual experiences are in the same parts of the brain. And so you there's kind of a fine line between that. But anyways, just a side note.
Right. It's like when people say that when they die, they go toward the light, or that they have a vision, or that they're somewhere. And then others would say, no, that's just the way your brain's neurons are firing, or no, you're just insane. How do we know? Guess we don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense in terms of when they talk specifically about having a relationship with, I'm not even going to say the name of the specific individual that they take from history and have a relationship with, but they talk about them in the third person like they're actually, in a relationship with them.
They'll say, I have a relationship with God, and so I am better than you. That's exactly the quote, although the words are never quite said that way. And when they they can't really define relationship with God. Is it a two-way relationship? Does God talk to you? If so, would some people say that makes you insane because you're hearing voices? Or is it true?
Looking for not even looking for, but when it comes to giving praise to the creator, I mean, you're obviously going to have to be on the humble side of that equation, right? So anyone who's going to use their belief in that creator's powers as a weapon to belittle another person is not really a believer in that creator.
I like that a lot.
Or in that Christ. They're not a believer in that.
The problem,
we've been joined by Twitwit. How's it going?
Hi, Twitwit.
Shout out Twit.
I muted her. She's always trolling or whatever.
Way too much. Costs way too much.
Hey, VB. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for the invite.
Yep. Twit's been a huge contributor in the chats since pretty much forever. Validation.
She loves trollcasts.
Yeah, she's a huge chat troll.
Well, but also she's in my chat on my shows often, and it's sort of a non-trollcast show. So
true.
I think she's.
True.
We're all trollcasts.
Yeah.
They are. No, Flyers and Other Hot Potatoes is also a troll cast. There's plenty of trolling going on.
Yeah, I know.
Oi! What about me? I don't have trolley shit going down. Oh, you're back too long.
Hey, Martin.
No, I mean in the chat.
Oh yeah, well I just permit whatever.
Martin, your cuckoo clock is not ticking. Has time stood still?
It's not well.
I guess not.
It's just everything's going easy in here. This is the time that's actually real time in my house. Everything's that's a second here. Time
is relative, Martin, so whatever, right?
You got it, and I can experience that. That's actually a real second. It's just really slow. Slow-mo.
Yeah,
remember,
right twice a day, so that's good enough.
Remember, Martin is a realmer, which I actually lean towards. So by that, anything can happen.
Oh
within
no,
his
Cathexis
framework.
is leaning again. Stand up straight, lad.
Yeah, you lean towards a bozo, Kath.
I don't have a model or an idea.
This is a realm.
I don't believe it's a globe. I don't have it could be a realm. I mean, what do I know? I don't know. I just know.
If you're a spirit in a body, and then that would mean that we're in a spiritual realm of experience, aka it's a spiritual realm of experience.
Thank you, Martin.
I believe in Martin's realm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mazzy.
Well, you know what? We all have to believe in Martin's realm because Martin believes in it. Therefore, for him, it's fact. Therefore, everybody's belief here to them is fact. That's a funny thing that I've always thought about. Why is everyone fighting? Why can't everyone say, and some people are going to hate this, but why does anyone have the narcissism? I mean, in the narcissistic sense, not as in the mental disorder, to say, I'm the one that knows what the map looks like. I'm the one that knows what the world looks like.
Orwell called it collective solipsism in 1984, which you read. So that, I think, is really what's going on. So who claims facts on somebody else's experience in reality? And that's something I found through the investigation of these ideas, because You know, like two people could be looking at a sunset. Timmy's going to say it's obstruction, and then a flat earther is going to say, oh, well, you know, it's atmospheric conditions, swells, waves, da 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 da. So they're looking at the same thing, but with their own perception and their own set of facts and presuppositions, they're coming to different conclusions. That is something very dramatic to realize. So, like you mentioned with the maps and everything, you're right. For anybody to declare that they know the truth of the matter, or they know the name of God, or they have the only correct, undebunkable map, absolute insanity in my mind.
You're basically being a cult leader in some way.
You have to recognize that, I mean, logically, we were talking about this when I visited Tim, actually, is the idea that, you know, without your presuppositions, you'd go insane.
Yep.
I think that's true. But I think, you know, one of my presuppositions is that there is an objective reality. And if
Silly.
I know, but if that's the case, then, you know, what Patricia said isn't the case. And, you know, what everyone believes isn't fact. And in actual fact, there is an objective set of facts. And all we have is an interpretation of it. And therein, I guess, lies the debate is, you know,
you're a materialist.
Whose interpretation best comports with reality.
During the Cold War, the communists were trying to like promote nihilism when they were doing their subversive propaganda in America, and that's nihilism. I think plays into the flat Earth promotes this nihilistic view, like don't believe everything you were told and all that. And I think that helps the establishment, I think, because granted, they are lying to us, and it is hard to know what to believe. But what Flat Earth does is it throws the baby out with the bathwater. Off doing that than just like being more selective on what you believe, I guess, and still like sort of believing the general consensus of things, but being more selective.
Yeah, but Flat Earth was supposed to be about like return to the senses, and what Jim was saying was, you know, yeah, it can be a presupposition that there is an objective truth to the world, and I guess it would be a presupposition that humans also can figure that out. But at the same time, if it's about empiricism, if it's about reality, if it's about what we can test and prove empirically, then the globe seems to be what fits all observations the best. And the flat earth, that's what's kind of caused a divide in the flat earth right now. I've noticed is there's a group of people that want to proselytize the flat earth message to newcomers to prove that the earth is flat. And then there's another group of flat earthers that basically want to prove it and are trying to map it out, as in take empirical observations and map it, like actually do what you guys are saying, you know, you're doing. Like, it's very important for you guys to come up with a map and a model, and yeah, it can be pitched in the flat earth that it isn't, but it is. It's very important because you're also coming up against a behemoth that is the spherical model that is all mapped out. It has been for hundreds of years. It's been perfected. So we do need something that matches reality, or what you guys are claiming is just claims at the end of the day. And you're not truthers. You're people that are biased, in my opinion.
Patricia,
Yes.
Patricia, at the conference, what model was focused on the most?
Well, I know that the presentation that I did a panel, like Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes panel, no model was represented. And then I did the Flatty Awards. You know, there were awards given for, you know, infinite plane videos and dome videos. So it was I made sure it was very neutral. But then there were people who came from a Christian perspective who believed in the dome. But next year, I would imagine there would be other belief systems, aka religions or spiritual outlooks, that will be represented. So since the conference was started by Robbie Davidson, who is a Christian, I would, you know, it would be understood that he is believing in the dome, the firmament, and that sort of thing. But there were secular speakers such as myself and a few others, David Weiss, Mark Sargent, but Mark Sargent does veer a bit toward the Christian side of the dome because of his model. Jaron, Bob, and some others. I'm sorry, my mind isn't remembering everybody that was there at the moment. So yeah, it was AE map / no specific map. Let's find out. Mixed. So
You know,
So what do you think about giving an award to somebody with Lucifer across his chest at a very religious kind of flat Earth conference?
And it wasn't
I mean, was that?
no, for sure.
It
Because
wasn't.
no, because I'm not religious at all. Zero. I don't consider myself a Christian. I don't consider myself an anti-Christian either. I just don't identify with any religious belief. Definitely not religious. There were speakers who had sessions you could choose to attend that talked about that, like Pastor Dean Odell. But I didn't even go watch that one. Not as a protest. I was busy doing something else. But
You the one that Mama went to?
yes, you could go and watch what you wanted. And, you know, so, and I don't know who's got Satan across their chest. I'm sorry. You speaking of, maybe, I'm just going to guess, IPS?
Lucifer, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know he had Lucifer on his chest. I have no idea. But I do know he won an award for best newcomer or something along those lines. But the winners in categories were picked during several Flat Earth and Other Hot Potato shows. My cats are going crazy. Stop. People were putting the categories in and then voting, and that's how it all was picked. So,
was there a best country song?
No best country song, but you know,
you would have won that, BB.
So,
but
what about
as a show? While we're on the topic of it, did you any of you guys hear what Mama Queen did?
Oh, why don't you?
No, that's what I was just about to ask, because she is lovely. What?
Was she the lady that heckled?
You're not kidding. She got escorted out.
She was great. I thought that was great. If I may make a comment, and I'm not expecting you to sort of apologize or anything, Patricia. I understand that as you've said, there were different speakers and people could pick and choose. But I did think that what Dean Odell did was it seemed to me to be a carefully planned strategy. And what I saw him do was he sort of gave a nod to other religions and said, other religions believed it was flat, and then proceeded to tell everyone why his religion was better than other religions. And then after the heckle, that finished in an all-out assault on Islam. And I thought that was thoroughly inappropriate. All of that was inappropriate for that event.
I heard about that too.
I'm not in a position to apologize for anyone because
I don't think you should. That was
the conference wasn't. I was only a speaker. Number one, number two. Nobody, even conference organizers, could have exactly expected that to occur. And number three, I'm not Dean Odell, who I really had only met and heard about because of the conference. So his actions and what he said, nobody has any control over that but him. But Mama Queen, who I've interviewed in the past. It's on one of my shows on my channel, early shows.
Well, back, yeah.
She's a really nice person, but she also, being Muslim, didn't feel represented, and decided to go and speak up. I have two ways of looking at it. I get that she didn't feel represented, but I also see that there'd be no way to represent every single belief system there at the conference. It would be. 5,000 speakers.
I don't know if it was about representation, though, because, if you listen to what Odell said, he literally said Allah was a demon.
Yeah, now that's ridiculous. I heard about that. I didn't hear it with my own ears.
I'm sorry to say, but it's just right there.
That is horrible. And I can't condemn people because
you have no. You don't need to do anything. I'm just saying.
I agree. That's bad.
You, Patricia, and I didn't want it to be like that. I just wanted. It's just that we'd got to that bit, and I really, that when that event happened, it really did bug me, and I just seized this opportunity to just voice my opinion.
I agree.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not suggesting for a minute that that you're responsible for this in any way.
And that's why I pointed that out, because I can understand now why Mama Queen would have done such a thing, because she's not even from what I understand, even a practicing Muslim. She just comes from a Muslim region of the world, and she happens to have been. Yes. So I can understand that. And it's funny because I saw it the next day when you guys went out to breakfast. I watched the video.
Yeah, she came with me. We went,
and I was like, what did she do? Because I know she's fiery and she's against the patriarchy and she speaks her mind, and I have tons of respect for her. As an individual.
she went out to, or the day, whatever, Saturday, conference was done. She went out to breakfast with myself and several others, and we had a great time. I know that she spoke her mind. I said to her later, I admire you for speaking your mind. I think it was great. But I also said that maybe that a lesson will be learned for next year's conference, although I'm not an organizer, to be inclusive of more belief systems. But also there's I guess doing a protest, which is what she did, is a great way to draw attention to something. But there's also the other way to look at it. Like if you don't like something, like overt Christian pastor, don't go in and watch that speaker because it will just make you mad. So just like there's channels that say horrible things, I don't go to those channels and watch their videos or listen or go in there and, in comments and give my opinion. To me, they don't exist. So I don't go there.
Yeah, but doing that is the silence is compliance.
Yeah,
and doing it her way is that it's not really about being more inclusive to all different people and all this kind of stuff. It's about being not so abrupt with what you say about other religions that maybe somebody in the crowd is about. That's all that it is.
Supposedly,
even before
her doing it is going to be a lesson to him.
Yes, I think
and
it's
further
a lesson to
conferences.
him, not the conference in general. I totally agree with that. And I think what she did was right. I don't think it spoiled the conference. It might have ruffled a few people's feathers, but I think she felt very good after doing it. And it was something that may change the way other speakers handle themselves. You have to remember, and I remembered this and kept this in the forefront of my mind with everything I did, generally everything I ever do on YouTube. You're not just speaking to one type of person. You're speaking to people from many different countries, many different backgrounds, with many different maps and models, different upbringings, different sets of social skills. So you have to sort of, if you're going to be a public speaker, try to include everyone with what you have to say.
You can't possibly please everyone though, and that's kind of the downfall of what I see with you and other people, where it's like you try to be a beautiful person to everybody and not even close to everybody.
Well, some people are good at it, Tim. Some people are just good at it, Tim.
Hey, I have no filter and I have my opinion, and it hasn't changed and it will never change.
But concerning the conference, though, I mean, it's well understood and known by everybody that it was put on by a fundamentalist Christian, and that, of course, was going to have that slant. So I was shocked to see that people were, like even you, Jeremy, you were pointing out like it was.
But my problem is, this is my problem, because disregarding the heckle, before the heckle, I think that Dean O'Dell had taken account of the fact that there were going to be other religions there, and he set about evangelizing to them.
Okay, but that's an assumption. But I think
I don't think it's
the point I'm making.
Very obvious from the strategy, from the arguments that he was making. Like I say, he gives a nod to these other religions, and then the next thing he does is start explaining why his religion is better, because it makes prophecies. I
know what you mean.
Generally what he was saying, and that was unnecessary. He could still have evangelized for Christianity without, and given them a nod, said they said it too, and then just not said anything more about them, and then gone on.
I think the evangelizing is really like very counterintuitive for people like me and Jim Panda.
That's evidence of narcissism.
I'm not a fan of that. What I'm a fan of is understanding who you're speaking to, get your personal viewpoint across without putting others down. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And it wounded Marmar to a point where she just was compelled to speak out. And obviously there's no loss in friendship, because we went out to breakfast with a bunch of people the next day. I don't really even think the conference organizer, Robbie D, has a grudge against Marmar. Of course, he didn't like the conference being disrupted, but there's got to be a part of him that thinks, well, yeah, I get the point. So hopefully people will think before they speak, whoever goes and speaks at a conference in the future. I know that the conference in the UK that's coming up in April isn't going to have Gary Johns putting that on, and it's not going to have a religious conference organizer. So the tone will be different from the start. I do know some of the speakers that are going to be going, and none of them have a particular religious bent. But, Martin Liedtke's going to be there, and he will come from a spiritual realm point of view. And there will be others there with some other different opinions. So we'll see how that goes. It will be different, and it might even be a better conference, not because Robbie's was inferior, but because it was the first. And the first is the one where you're undergoing the growing pains and the teething issues, and a lot of things don't go perfectly. And then the next conference is use that as a template to learn.
I have one more question about the conference, and I'll leave it alone. Why did Mark wear them dumbass glasses, dude?
Well, I didn't know he was going to wear them until, we both met up dressed to go do the Flatty Awards.
Because you look lovely.
Thanks.
You look lovely.
He asked me what I was wearing. I said a long evening gown like you'd wear to an award show, kind of tongue in cheek, because we're not part of mainstream, but just to be fun with trophies and, whatever. And then he said, well, I've got something. I said, well, are you going to wear a tux? And he said, yes. He goes, I've got something. And what he ended up wearing was a glowing bow tie and glowing glasses. But it didn't bother me because it wasn't a real serious event. We're giving awards to a thing called the Flatties. And so he wanted to make it fun and goofy. And because Mark's fun and goofy. And so when I saw it, I smiled. I'm like, that's Mark for you. Of course he's going to do something crazy.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself after seeing it. I understand the context.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the context of it's being filmed and there's a documentary and all of this kind of stuff. And this goes back to me talking to Mark over 2 years ago and my concerns with what I thought he was doing with the flat earth. And, I don't really need to go into it, but it doesn't surprise me that he does stuff like that. And it doesn't surprise me that, this goes on like it does, because this is what I said. This is to just, in my opinion, make people that have differing opinions from the mainstream media look like absolute goofballs.
See, I don't think that Mark wearing that.
Mark doesn't look like a scientist. Dogmatic Dell going out pretending pouring water onto a ball doesn't look like a scientist. Or this isn't a serious inquiry when people make it into a mockery.
Well,
and that's just my opinion, Patricia, straight up.
Totally fair to have that opinion. But Mark isn't positioning himself as a scientist ever. He's positioning himself as what he is, kind of like the goofy guy next door who used to own a comic book shop and then found this, what he believes is a truth. I know you don't believe it, and decides he wants to spread it after doing some research. But he doesn't position himself as a scientist. He positions himself as almost like every man, kind of a dork, not that good looking, not the greatest social skills, puts his foot in his mouth sometimes and wears a goofy bow tie sometimes. And that's what
I can really relate to Mark.
he's just a guy, like a goofy guy who moved away from his condo he had in Boulder to live with his mother, who's very ill with cancer right now, to take care of her. And he's actually a really good guy. Like him or not, hate him or not, he's got a good heart for his family and the things that he thinks are valuable in when it comes to.
I got you. It's always good to look at people's intent, but also when they're climbing and clawing for anyone and everyone to jump on this and get on any talk show and just completely do a full-time job on this while never talking to people like Negator, like Gem Panda, like myself ever since that day. So this isn't somebody that's looking for the truth, in my opinion, in any stretch of the imagination at all.
He's found it already, just like you feel you have it. And so therefore you're fine to exist doing what you're doing, in my opinion, as is he. And we're all here around the same campfire.
So if you consider yourself a truther or somebody that likes the truth, I guess you can probably see my sentiment where the evidence does absolutely fit with the sphere and does not in any way with the flat earth. So I'm just saying that what I've done in the past is because this is my truth, and what you guys have been pushing for years is just malarkey and fluff.
His bow tie is akin to your sniping. It's your own style. The thing that you do that you feel is okay for you to do. And like, no one's going to stop Mark and no one's going to stop you.
She said your sniping is goofy, son.
No, it's just what you do. Whatever. And
the bow tie is more classy.
Everyone feels everyone feels they have the truth or are on the road to truth. I think I'm in a state of awakening. I don't think I'm awake. I don't think I have the truth. I'd like to try to find the truth. And what I have found has led me to the idea that we don't live on a globe. You have found otherwise, Tim. But I don't hate you for that finding at all. I don't think I'm better or you're better. And with Mark, I just think Mark's a good guy with a different set of belief systems as you. And I actually think you're not a bad guy either. Even if you've done some stuff that people would say, you should hate him. I don't think you're a bad guy. I think you're just a guy expressing your views in a different way than Mark or myself are expressing our views.
I see. I don't find anything objective about this inquiry anymore. I find that you guys have locked yourselves into an echo chamber. And, pardon me for bringing this up, but I've never really been able to talk to you. But it's just like, are you guys set on your beliefs? Are you in the pursuit of truth? Will you always be a flat earther? I mean, is this a lifelong thing? Or is this a pastime, or is this to entertain?
Well,
I just don't get it anymore.
It's been always what it is from the start, something that resonated with me on the level of truth and that I wanted to contribute to in some way, helping, which is why I decided to interview people, because science, doing experiments, wasn't something that interested me. So I decided to use radio background type of thing to do interviews. And I also enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to people. So there is a level of fun to it. And anybody who is going to deny that they're doing this for amusement, pleasure, and fun, they're kind of nuts. We wouldn't be up at whatever crazy hour it is, 4 a.m. for some of us doing this, unless we were finding interpersonal connection. And not because we're lonely losers, because I'm definitely not a lonely loser. I have less of a social life than I used to, because a lot of my social life is spent online. But I went out with a friend to have wine yesterday, posted pictures of he and I out on my Facebook. I still do go out, do things, go on trips that don't have anything to do with flat Earth. So it's truth to me. I know not to you, Tim. I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy doing shows, and I enjoy interacting, even with people who don't believe the same as me. So it's something.
But what if it's all a lie, though?
Yeah,
what if it's completely blatantly false?
I can ask you the same question. What if the globe's a lie? What are you going to do?
You can ask that, but I really wouldn't care. I would say, you know what? The creator, or however this world was created it in such a way that it made us think that it was spherical, but somehow was flat.
My answer's the same. If I found out tomorrow, if it's a globe tomorrow, I'll say, wow. I've said this always. I would go, wow, I've been fooled. I thought it was flat, but the creator or science or people have created it in a way where I could really believe this. It's not a lifelong thing I'll hold on to, until my nails are bleeding, even if it's found to not be true. Now, I know you feel it's already been found to not be true, but not to me and not to others.
Would you feel sorrow, though, for the people that you let on? I mean, this is the line of inquiry.
Would you feel sorrow if it was found to not be
true? No, because everything that I say is true.
See, I feel the same way. I feel the same way, that I am not lying to people on purpose. Later,
you interview people, but you don't ever really go into the facts of the sphere or the flat Earth ever. Well, so your position is to interview, and I understand, but it's like, at a certain point, people that quote unquote call themselves truthers, I just don't understand why they don't talk to other people. And why they've just stopped at flat Earth and
I didn't. I grew up with the globe. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I didn't just stop at flat Earth. I was spinning on that globe all of my life. I had a globe. I believed in it. I didn't even think about it. It was just the way life was. And so I found new information and then went on a new path. And when you go in that new path, you actually set yourself up to be criticized and belittled to the point where it doesn't make your life as great as it used to be when you were just like everyone else. So it's not that you do it because, oh, it's so great being flat. There's aspects to it that are great, the camaraderie with the people you meet, but there's a lot of negatives too, because some people might think you're crazy, where you didn't have that when you lived on the ball and just blended in with everyone else. So I'm doing this because I believe in it. If someday it's found out to be 100% not true, I will not feel sorrow. I won't feel I've led other people down a garden path, because it was never with malicious intent. Nothing I've done is with malicious intent. Just like if someday you find out the Earth is flat, you don't need to say, oh, I misled people. I'm a horrible person and slit your wrist, Tim. You can just say, I've been fooled. We've all been fooled about many things. And I don't feel any shame that I was fooled into believing 9/11 was done by Arabs with box cutters. I fell for it. You know, I fell for the moon landing. I fell for everything. And I don't
Well, you
feel
fell for the flat Earth, and you fell for the moon landing being a hoax now, and you're falling for, you know, urine being good, and you're falling for all these other conspiracies and auto hoaxery now. So I don't think that you're really.
That's opinion. Your opinion.
No.
Fair to have it.
What do you mean?
Okay, I know
I've heard what you say.
I know you believe that what you say is fact, that all of those things are different than the way I believe. But I'm here and open and willing to say that your belief is different than mine, and you're fine to have that belief. You're saying to me, your opinion is different than mine, and it's not fine for you to have that belief. That's the difference.
No, I never said that. I never said that ever. I think that there should be some sort of responsibility that is taken, in that we're not going to sit and stagnate in a level of ignorance where, oops, 5 years later we just say, oops, we figure out it's a sphere. I don't really care about the people that I let on for years, and that's what I feel that you're saying, in my opinion, because I care about saying the truth. Well, she doesn't need you to stick up for her, Kath.
Well, I'm
okay?
just saying.
But I'm just saying, when I say that what I say is true, what I say is true, it is facts. It is literally facts of our world. That's why I stick to the facts, the observable facts that Flat Earth is supposed to be about, none of which Mark Sargent or Patricia Steer have ever brought up. But they're true. They're all in it for the truth. And you know what? I'm going to mute because I've completely bastardized this year event of VB, so
No,
my bad.
I think what you've said is
correct.
valid, and it's good for you to speak your mind. And I've always known that you've come from that place, and I've always been fine with you coming from that place.
Thanks, you're a lovely person.
So did the people at the convention really have to stack chairs at the end of the convention?
Well, I was on stage. And, that was something that I didn't. Obviously, there's lots of stuff I didn't know that was going to happen because it happened as the ebb and flow of events happened. But I think we stayed longer than we were supposed to. And then all of a sudden, Rick Hummer, who was the MC, was saying that on the stage, "Kay, can you guys help out with stacking chairs?" And there was a few people that stayed behind and helped us stacking chairs. There was no guard making them do it or anything. It was just at the end of the party, some people go and help the host wash the dishes. It was more along the lines of that. Some people say it was a ritual. I mean, oh my God, really? Are you serious? They're like, she was wearing a white dress and has red hair, and she was on stage, and stacking chairs was a ritual. Now that's what they call conspirator talk.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
some people did do it. I think they just were doing it to help out.
Were they doing the Masonic chair dance?
Yeah. It was nothing Masonic. It was just a collection of people who never would have met otherwise at all, unless it were for this. And everyone got.
So I have to ask you. I have to ask you one thing. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm done.
No, go on, Troy.
good.
Oh, well, I just wanted to clear one thing up, maybe, because I'm not real sure if I understand what I've been hearing. But there's a bio that you've written that's been going around in different videos, Patricia.
It's on my channel. It was taken from my channel.
Yeah, was that a typo or is that a thing? Oops.
Uh-oh. She
just pieced.
You got too close to the truth.
Uh-oh.
They're trying to shut us down.
Shut us down.
So bad.
Subscribe to my channel.
Try to shut me
What
down.
happened?
Yeah, what happened now?
What
They're
just
trying to
happened?
shut Patricia down. I need a what is that called? Like a sound box of him, so that I can call the scammers, dude. Oh, he would be so funny, dude.
Get him
You
to
could
do
lead him
it.
on for hours, dude.
Watch
Oh,
my
true.
videos.
Sorry, I stepped on the back button.
Tim.
That's perfect timing.
It
You're
was.
asking me a question about a bio twit. Go. I think I mean, I do. Well, go ahead and say the question.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm just sitting here unsure if it was a typo or if it's like coining a new thing, which I don't think is a bad thing. A coincidence theorist.
Oh, I know what it is. It's the description from my YouTube channel that was cut and paste or something onto the description of myself on the Flat Earth International Conference is, here's our speakers and here's what they're all about. And I'll read it. It says, Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes is hosted by me, Patricia Steer. I'm a flat earther, a vegan, a conspiracy realist, and a cat lover. On my shows, meet flat earthers, enjoy interviews, panel shows, and more. This channel is for flat earthers and the flat earth curious. And then it goes on and talks about all the topics that I've ever discussed, blah, 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 blah. But at one time, I had a conspiracy realist. No, it says conspiracy realist now. It said coincidence theorist for like a brief moment in time. And I think Robbie D or somebody highlighted that, cut and pasted and put it in there, or somebody, I don't know how it got there, but on my channel it says conspiracy realist. But there is such thing as a
that's a joke against conspiracy. Yeah, people who don't know what conspiracy theories are. We call them coincidence theorists.
Exactly. And I think that's an error, or something happened in the translation of it from my page to over there. And I don't think it's even like that anymore on Robbie D's site. It shouldn't be. I mean, but the conference is over anyway, but somebody should go look. But on my channel, it says a conspiracy realist and a cat lover. Because I consider myself a conspiracy realist, not a conspiracy theorist. Meaning what I'm saying is conspiracies aren't theories to me. A lot of them are real.
I like conspiracy analysts these days.
Oh, I like that as well. I'm not going to change mine.
That's what
I like that. But that was a written typo-ish something. I don't know how it got like that. But
that's actually Gore Vidal. He called himself a conspiracy analyst.
I like that. But however you read it, or I don't mean that you read it because that implies you were reading incorrectly. However you saw it was a misprint of what's on my YouTube channel. So
yeah, but I don't understand what the issue is, though, because I saw it pointed out in the video. But coincidence theorist is a joke against people who don't understand conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
like it's a commonly said thing. Yeah, so it seemed to me like you were making kind of a joke within a joke kind of situation.
Yeah, and
that's how I took it.
Well, that's how I read it.
Yeah.
Either way, nothing about it is bad. Like, look what we found. Oh my God, the truth is out.
Yeah.
Exposed.
Whatever. It's a whatever.
I think I've seen it like on two or three videos.
They will find anything, like literally anything. Like I did a video where before I spoke in the breakfast restaurant, because we were eating and drinking, that I went like this with my tongue, like this, to clear my mouth. So make sure when I did my video holding my camera up that I wouldn't have like lipstick on my
Goddess Callie.
And they they froze it with my tongue like and said botched lip injections. Look at all the plastic surgery. But nobody played the video to see me totally like this. That was just last Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like you can see I look normal. And so they're looking for anything, and then the people who make these videos are purposely capturing a screen grab where I've done something with my face for a split second in time, like we all do, and said, look, but if you watch the actual video, I look normal.
It's so weird. 2.5 years ago, when we were all coming into this, 2.5, 3 years ago, whatever, it was a good year and a half before there was any type of behavior like this, which is weird.
I got
I know you did. I know some people went
in
after
my
you guys
third show or second show. Eric said I was a show, so Eric Dubin.
Well, sure. I'm not saying everybody was. I'm just saying it wasn't a culture within itself. Like,
yes, you're right. There's,
you know what I mean? Like it's become like this weird
dedicated channels that are, what do you call it? Like gossip channels, gossip magazines, gossip rags. Dedicated.
Yeah.
Shill stoppers.
Yes.
It's like TMZ for the flat earth movement on
just like
YouTube.
Those magazines, they're using incorrect information. They're changing information to suit their narrative, using photos, screenshots that aren't really reflective of truth, pushing it as truth. And the worst thing is their audience doesn't do enough investigation to go back to that video and play it and see that's not what was said.
And that little
to me, Metatron, Patricia Steer, Mark Sargent is basically the official story of 9/11 to me. I mean, it quite literally is. It doesn't matter if they come out and say for sure or whatever. To me, it just doesn't matter, because there will never be anybody that acts like you two do and did for the past few years. Ever.
What do you mean?
Ever on the face of this planet ever again
What
will
if
we see a Patty
What do you
Steer and
mean?
Mark Sargent.
I act like a normal person all of the time, like literally like a normal
Truthfully, in the conspiracy crowd back in the day, if people came out and made it full-time job and acted in the ways that you have portrayed this whole time, they would. I mean, nobody would be watching. But this whole dogmatism towards flat Earth is like, it doesn't matter if they have damning evidence or not against you guys. Like, you guys are going to have your followers till kingdom come.
A lot of people understand that Metatron thing was a false allegation and dismissed it completely, just like the, oh, she had plastic surgery, look at her lips, because they didn't play the rest of the video and see my lips are normal. It's the same thing.
So Metatron just happened to have marksargent.com.
That's all.
Then also, and then yeah. But then also happened to do you guys' apps as well. That's correct.
The company iMobilize, their app division, contacted us. It's been on many videos in the past where we said, hey, a guy named Joe from iMobilize contacted Mark and I, and they're going to make us free apps. We talked about it on our shows. Then all of a sudden we had free apps. Now, because those apps later people found out they were spying on you, when people don't realize that every app you ever download is, quote, spying on you, including anything involving Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, flashlight apps, apps about jogging, calorie counting, yoga. They all ask for permissions, and most of us just go, okay, because we want the app. Do I get any money from that? No. Am I signed up to get any money from that? No. Do I work for Metatron or iMobilize? No. It's a gift. Like a guy gave me a t-shirt that said Flat Earth on it. He made me an app. People don't need to download that app if they don't want it. I receive no profit from it. I just thought it was cool to have an app. Most people would think, oh, that's really flattering. This guy actually made a little app from me that shows all of my shows I've ever done. And the thing was,
that's kind of a bad business decision, though, isn't it? To not make any profit off of it.
But it's not a business. I'm not in a business.
It's not a job. I mean,
what's up with the FEOHP LLC then?
The FEOHP
How is that not a business?
LLC came from the fact that people were doxing me and putting up my home address. Although, of course, you could find my home address if you dug long enough, as you know, Tim. But I got this house that I live in, and I didn't want people to dox me.
Okay,
So-
wait, guys.
Anyway, I got to try
Everybody.
I gotta go, VB.
Yeah.
I gotta go. My eyes are fucking shutting, yeah.
Oh, my
Oi,
God.
Martin. Oi.
Good night.
Good night, Martin.
Big ups.
Good. Peace and love. Awesome panel tonight. You rock, you do, VB boy. Night, Patricia. Night,
Good night.
Thank you, Martin.
Peace, bro.
Nice all. Peace
Night.
and love, guys.
That's it. I'll just finish very quickly. I started I talked to somebody when I got the house. I said, I want to try, what can I do to hide my address so people don't stalk me? I mean, I am a woman who lives by myself. And he said, well, you need to hide your address. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? And he said, if you can form an LLC in Delaware, and in Delaware, you don't need to have an actual company. It can be a company with one person. You don't need presidents, vice presidents, or anything else like in a company. You can form an LLC. It'll just be you. You put the house under the LLC, name it anything you want. Name it I Love Cats if you like. And when somebody tries to look up where you live, it won't show your name and your address. And I said, that sounds like a great idea. What do you want to name it? I don't know, FEOHP, because in order to find it, you'd have to know my address first. Anyway, so my house was pleasantly hid, the address, so no one could come and knock on my door or stalk me, because we are in this conspiracy world and there's a lot of weird people, as we know. And then, of course, I doxed myself by showing my screen where something from Amazon had been mailed to me on my street address. And so they looked up the street address and then found the LLC. But that's why I did it. It was a smart move, but it has nothing to do with making money. If they delved further, they could see FEOHP LLC there's no income into it. It's just basically my house. That's it.
LLC myself. What it does is it's a limited life.
Yeah,
So no one can
limited
sue you
liability.
personally. They can't sue you, but they can sue your business.
Well, it's in that case, if I was using it as a business, yes. But in this case, I had an LLC for my clothing store. But it was different. Everyone would want to know the address of the clothing store so they could go there and shop. This one was formed specifically not for a business. It's formed because that weird thing about Delaware won't let you see the address or the person.
It's a good
tied to
tax
it.
move too.
But
I mean, that's what
yeah,
I
but
was thinking.
if I was making money off this, yes, but there isn't, and you.
But I
can
don't
see-
understand why you're not. If you could be.
Because I don't know what I don't have a Patreon or a PayPal. I do put a couple commercials on there, and I make about 150 a month on commercials. Anybody can look that up on Social Blade. I don't make much. I didn't start doing it as a job. Now, if someday somebody came to me with an idea of something that would be beneficial to me financially and also would help promote the thing I believe in, if it was totally legit and cool and nobody was getting hurt and it didn't have any weird connections to anything wrong, I might say, okay. I don't know. That's not happened. So I haven't had that opportunity. I'm not looking actively for that opportunity either, but you never know what tomorrow could bring. So, but no, currently making no money off Flat Earth except for the monetization, nothing for Metatron. And the LLC was just to prevent myself from having a stalker knocking on my door or breaking in or something. That's it. But now the cat's out of the bag. The Flat Earth Reset, showed my house outside and, which was, just to, and then the MG25 TV decided to buy feohp.com and feohp.org. Websites I don't want, but to do that just to mess with my head didn't bother me at all. He's the one who wasted the money on it. And then if anybody ever looks those up, which they won't, they go back to his channel. To me, that's a very weak, childish little schoolboy game he's playing. And if he wants to play that, I'll never play back. I'm just like, cool. I don't care. I never wanted those things. I would have bought them if I wanted them.
I'll be honest with you. I've been in, researching conspiracy theories and been in these types of communities for a long time. And I have really, I understand people's, paranoia about things. But what I've come to conclude is that if you just take people for what they're worth, I don't trust anybody. But the whole, judge them by their fruits. And you do have a back catalog of interviews. And, Mark does his thing. Everybody has their own thing. It's just strange when I see people going in the direction that they have. Like MGTV and like Reset and these guys. It's this weird obsession, which I don't understand. They think that they have to think that you're some kind of evil, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And that I have all these people working for me and doing my bidding. I don't have anybody working for me.
Potatoes crew.
Doing my bidding. I mean, really, I'm just a woman who is just the same person that you see here. I know Nathan Oakley's hung out with me before, and many other people have now hung out with me because I've been to the conference. Now, some people might be predisposed to dislike me and come back and say something about me negative, but the general group of people who meet me, generally, everyone's fine with me. No,
I
did say that one time.
It'd be foolish to think that anything that gets popular is grassroots at this point.
Well, yeah, I like to
remember.
Go on. Yeah, real quick. I like to think that you have a team of ninja assassins.
Yeah.
I look at it that's how I look at it. I mean,
I would like that. I would.
Well, remember, Patty? Me, Timmy, Jim Panda, several other people. This is almost a year ago. We were doing on Jim. I think it was on Jeremy's broadcast. If Flat Earth was a psyop, how is it a psyop? And I said, well, I think Patty's a lovely lady, but her show could be one of the more dangerous shows. It's more like COINTELPRO, and she's getting this and that. And I went through it, and then at the end of it, I said, well, I don't necessarily think that. But your response, I didn't even know you were listening, but your response at the end, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that Cathexis thinks that I'm some kind of super secret agent jumping around in cat suits now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's kind of dumb. Why would they use Patricia Steer to get information when they have the internet?
I interview people, and when I interview people, what I do is I see all of their stuff on their channel about them, and then I ask them on my show to talk to a slightly bigger audience. Sometimes I'm the smaller channel, and to talk about themselves, but yet the intel that I'm collecting on these people, I'm not, but is easily found A, on their channel, B, government knows everything anyway about us. Yeah. We're on YouTube.
Google is the CIA is all these telecommunication companies. So they don't what the hell would Patricia Steer gather information for them?
No,
You're
like
totally
where do you
useless
live?
in that.
Toledo. What's what did you used to do? I used to work in marketing. Okay, well, cool. So how did you come across Flat Earth? If that's data collecting, I'm a big fail because I've had people who don't even show their, like I've interviewed Crow 777 and Russian Vids. They didn't show their faces or tell me where they, or anything, important. Just interesting conversations. That's it. So. But yeah, I like that. The most dangerous woman in Flat Earth.
Well, the idea, because if you look at COINTEL, it was essentially like a dossier system that they established to find who are like the leaders, like to understand their religious, political, social, viewpoints, and then categorize it to find who would be the best leaders, and then they go after that. All I was saying is like making a correlation between that. But if you recall, I wasn't saying that. I said that if in the context of if it was, then I would say that that's the case. But yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind that. I don't mind people thinking whatever they want to think about me. I've heard it all from reptilian to Wiccan to, I don't know. I bathe in baby blood. I'm like, you know what? You have way too much time on your hands. But
that's
okay.
That's what I think. That's what Flat Earth.
Sorry, I think.
If Flat Earth is a psyop, that's what it is. It's like a reptilian UFO cult to like waste people's time. That's all that is. Not like to gather information or anything.
I mean, I've hung out with Nathan Oakley and Paula, his wife, in his house where he is right now. Had coffee with him.
Well, he's an MI5 agent.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, wake up.
It's not good enough.
But what I mean is that we did normal stuff together. We went to eat, walked around. He
a little bit of gun training.
No, but I love all that imagery. I would like to be that, badass secret spy agent for sure.
And now Nathan's collecting all the new batch of data with his,
that's what
debates every day.
And that's what a secret agent would say, Patricia.
Exactly. I'd love to be one, but I'm not. Trust me. Yeah. Well, we need a secret agent, female and male, in Flat Earth, and Nathan and I are here to do that role for you if you want.
There you go. EMOs.
Hello,
what's up, Ed?
Exposed.
Upside down head.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Glad to see you guys all on here. This panel's kick-ass, man. I was listening. I got home a little late, like after the show started, but then it already jammed up, so I was listening. Saw the spot. What's up? How's everybody doing?
Doing well, man.
All right, this is a great panel, actually. Patricia, I'm happy you're over here. It's cool, man. Everyone, and Twitwit too, out of nowhere.
We have two ladies on the panel.
Yeah.
I think Twit's the biggest shill out of everybody out here.
I think that mustache
Says
looks
Natasha.
The mustache looks like a 666.
Uh-oh.
Joking.
Yep, it would take a woman to notice.
Well, is VB still here? Is he abandoned ship?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, hey. Thank you for allowing me to come on, and congratulations on your anniversary.
First time for Ed Upside Down Head on my show, I believe.
Yeah, Flat Earth Reset's going to have a field day with you, Validation Boy.
I know. I can't wait. I hope he dedicates, I hope he makes a full-on documentary.
I just want to say I love Flat Earth Reset's work. I think it's really great.
Okay,
Really?
cool. Is it? I don't know.
P-Mars is such a pro troll.
P-Mars is a sucker for the style. He likes the flash of Flat Earth Reset 3.
He reminds me of a young me, doing podcasts saying Michael Sarian is a shill and all that, and exposing David Icke and all these people. So
P-Mars has been a shill hunter for a very long time.
Isn't Reset like in his 60s or some 70s? He sounds like it. I don't really know.
I think 50s or 60s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he put out a picture
in a video the other day.
Oh,
He what?
God.
Say it again?
Don't mention that, Jeremy.
What? No, I know. I want to know. What did you say?
The
Jeff?
story's great, actually. Tell it, Jen.
He mentioned me in a video.
Oh, what do you say?
Well, it's very bad, Patricia.
So the Flat Earth core.
I just, I've been hanging around with you guys too long, and the conspiracy theorist is rubbing off.
Uh-oh.
So, Flat Earth Reset, he made a video about FE Core, And he was on the website. They have an address, a postal address, and he looked up this address and found what appeared to be a Mennonite church. And he had a street view of it. And so I saw this video and I thought, well, all right, I'll go and have a look. So I went on Street View and saw this Mennonite church. I thought, oh, that's odd. You know, why would that be an office or something? Anyway, so then I start playing around on Street View and I move sort of around the corner of the church. And I noticed that as I move around the corner, obviously the photo is taken at a different time, and a sign appears on the corner of the church, and the sign is the name of the business. So zoom in on the sign, and the name of the business is Shamrock Holdings and Unique Tooling Company.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think, oh, that's interesting. So I Google Shamrock Holdings and Unique Tooling Company. And the first result in Google is for Shamrock Holdings only, not Shamrock Holdings and Unique Tooling Company. So I look at Shamrock Holdings. It's actually a Wikipedia entry. And this is a company that belongs to Disney. So you can see the sort of beauty of this as a conspiracy. Hang on, there's one more leg to this.
Okay.
You can see the beauty to this as a conspiracy because, you know, in some pictures the sign isn't there, in some pictures the sign is there. But let me finish off by saying Shamrock Holdings and Unique Tooling Company is a totally different company that has nothing to do with Disney. And the other thing that I have so far failed to mention is directly across the road from the Mennonite church is a post office, which I imagine is probably there's probably a post office box there.
Yes, there's always an explanation to these things. I had the same
I
thing
didn't tell
happen.
Flair to reset that bit.
Well, and he probably, if you did, would have ignored it because the other thing is way more juicy. I had the same thing with filing my LLC. The person who's a personal friend of mine and a lawyer has an actual real job as a lawyer for a giant corporation. But he's a personal friend of mine and filed the LLC for me personally. And he wanted to put it in an address, like a mailing address or service address that wasn't mine, because if you use my house address, well, that would be ruining the reason for creating the LLC to hide my home address. So he used his workplace address. His workplace address happens to be a giant mega building owned by a huge restaurateur. And so Reset was saying the huge restaurateur owned my house. Same kind of, it's not really like that, kind of like the P.O. box thing. But if people want to think that, that's great. It really shows the poor research of people, the huge imagination to find the negative, not the huge imagination like you exhibited, Jem, to look around and think, yeah, it could be the post office. Or maybe she knows the lawyer who just actually is a friend and he works there, where he could be working for Delta, or he could have done it from his office in, I don't know, Boeing, wherever. I'm just naming businesses right off the top of my head. GE light bulb company. So it's a wild imagination looking for things to be bad. And what is that what it's called when you already have your mind made up that things are going to be
confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias, exactly. Yeah. Confirmation bias. So, but then again, you know, the funny thing about the people who make these videos about other people, we're not making videos about them. They're making videos about us. So they are our tabloid press. And tabloid papers generally are read a little bit quickly for fun, a few laughs, and thrown in the trash with the garbage or used to line bird cages. So it's not that important.
It's good toilet reading, is what you're saying.
That's it.
It's the TMZ of flat Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah, when that Metatron stuff came around, like everybody was going, it was like making a shit ton of like crazy videos, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like I was talking to Catexis, and I was like, within 3 minutes, I was like, oh, this guy that was in this band, and it has nothing to do with any of these people. Like it took me 3 minutes of searching, and I found that people already had videos up, like
people were saying
Then they were saying he was the other guy, and then
the other guy. And they found a younger
find-
picture of like
Yeah.
some guy who looked kind of similar, but the height was like 6
Right.
inches
Yeah,
off.
That
You
other
know, but
guy's
people were
hip
saying
was
it's
at the
him.
windowsill. That other guy's hip was at the windowsill, and like
And
Mark
that
said,
other
like, what,
guy,
6 foot something.
The other guy, Ralph, whatever, you can find him on Facebook with a long hair and a beard. Like he's a musician in San Diego. You can see all the places he's checked in San Diego over the years. He's the guy who really is the guy, not Mark. But whatever, people love to believe the crazy things. I like some of it because it's fun to hear about me, you know, like in a cat suit with like a bunch of ninjas around me, like Issa said, you know, controlling things. But the reality is far more boring. So I'm okay with people believing the fantasy. If
I think most of it's like a downside of even being in this scene at the get go, because I think everybody has their guard down because they feel like they've been lied to with like something that
Exactly.
you know, like NASA specifically. So people are more willing to actually believe things that are just thrown their way, because there's tons of people that watch a 10-minute YouTube video and all of a sudden they make no critical thinking moves and they all of a sudden just believe like what they just watched.
Because they want to believe, they already dislike fill in the blank person. So if they hear anything about that person, they will read it or watch it and go, oh yeah. They will do no further research because it confirms what they want to believe.
There's a psychological effect when you get a lot of information overload that you lose a sense of reality, actually. And I think, I mean, a lot of this alternative media would help with that, with like it spins people into all these directions, like Nibiru aliens, you know, there's any conspiracy you could think of, there's like a group out there. So.
Dude, I heard a guy say that the rocks at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado is really just a petrified like chicken bird giant.
Yeah, there's the people who believe that guy Mud Fossils. There's a guy named Mud Fossils out here. When after the mountains or trees thing came out 2 years ago, this guy went and trying to say that the smaller mountains are really the petrified remains of giants and giant creatures.
You mean remains of their body, like when it decays?
Yeah, split rocks hanging out, and this dude was like, "Yep, that's a wing."
So what it is, it's pareidolia. When people are looking at like mountainscapes and such, and they're like, "Oh, that kind of looks like a foot. Oh, that kind of looks like a face. Oh, these are definitely titans exposed." Well, like they're so like they think it's true though.
We did it with clouds when we were children, but clouds drift away.
Well, the thing I have a problem with is when it's being sold as absolute, and a lot of these people in this realm does that. And but you just find that in this realm.
I think it's a very good idea to entertain all of these ideas I think it's great. People might entertain that I work for Metatron. Look into it, but really actually look into it. Look into the fact that maybe those are the remains of giants or something. Sure. You should never say, no way, impossible, because that's a bad quality. We were given brains for a reason and eyes to make some decisions. But believing everything, that's
credibility absolutely destroys it. And I tried to explain this to Math when he mirrored MGTV's first video. I left him a little message saying, "Really? Have you not done any research? Is this what you're taking now as evidence?" And after that, he and his new wife buddied up to me and were sort of trying to get more information about this MGTV bullshit out of me. And I was like, I already knew that people like Ed had debunked it in 3 minutes flat, and most of them weren't flat earthers. And it was a really, it's disheartening to see the, no offense, guys, the globe heads going out there and debunking it instantly. And then Math, who I do look up to, I know he's a bit bonkers, but to see him just show no critical thinking and no research skills, and then just parrot it again and again, push the narrative, silence people who are disagreeing with him. It's like, this is so disappointing.
There's a lot of disinfo concerning other individuals in this. And, it's funny. Usually the people screaming division, screaming that somebody's dividing, that somebody's been put here to divide, are really technically the ones who are creating the most divisions.
Yeah, Eric,
that's what I've realized.
Yeah, Eric, why doesn't everyone get on Eric's back? Because he's like got the textbook on how to divide flat Earth. He's like just #2 of the old control structure for flat Earth. He's even got pretty much the same name with his website. It's just
as far as Eric Dubé goes, Eric Dubé doesn't even exist in my flat Earth. I've only watched like 1 or 2 Eric Dubay videos ever.
Yeah, he's not really part of this community, so to speak. But you're right. I mean, he did it really from the get. But really, anybody, people who are doing it on religious lines, people who are doing it on any, from my observations, because I mean, I'm not really involved with it anymore. But from my observations, they're the ones who are creating the most of division, and by accusing other people, it's essentially a projection. And they do it so much, and unfortunately, it is effective, especially on those religious lines. It bothers me when I see people who claim they're in the possession of truth in that realm, and declare that people are Satanists because they may not fall in the direct line that you of thought that you come into, and that's essentially all it is. I mean, I think you've even been accused, Patricia, of like Thelema and shit.
Yeah. And
like it's
where there's no proof of that. Like, but what is Thelema? It's what do what thou wilt or something.
That was Crowley's religion, essentially.
But the thing is that I do have an aspect. It's not Thelema, but I do think that everybody has the right to do whatever they want on their channel. If you want to call that Thelema, I just call it. Everyone has their own channel. YouTube allows you, as long as you're not.
Oh, there it is. You're telling people they can do what they will.
See, there you go.
Oh my God.
That's exactly it. And that's how those things get started. I don't say, oh, you must be Christian and accept Jesus Christ or you're going to hell. So therefore I must be into Thelema.
And back to kind of what I said earlier about how it was in the first year and a half. We knew early on who had Gnostic tendencies, who were, fundamentalist Christians, even some Muslims. I think Multi-Tom and several others were Muslim. Nobody cared. Everybody in the pursuit of this information set that stuff aside. And I think it only came forth because of boredom. Like once the information stopped flowing, because in the beginning it was 10, 15, 20 videos a day that people were constantly putting out of their own tests, their own ideas, etc. But then after that year and a half marker, people started dividing, faster and faster and faster, and drawing these lines in the sand over the map, over religious ideas. It's usually the people who are streaming
Mark
divisions that are doing it the most.
Mark Sargent is connected to Thelema because he's on Truth Frequency, which is owned by Chris Geo.
Yeah, but
he's not a Thelemite.
And
Chris
he also
Geo is not.
Can you prove that?
I just know Mark. I know his mom, who's born again Christian, and Mark and his mom
Chris Geo
bring to the
Chris
church.
Geo,
Females is trolling you, Patricia.
I'm not.
He's not.
No, the Truth Frequency Radio. I'm pretty sure Chris Geo is a theme.
Well, whatever those people believe at Truth Frequency, he's got lots of different people on there doing shit.
Mark Sargent is obviously an agent. He's obviously connected because he's allowed. Why are you laughing?
Pull back the computer time, P-Maz. Pull it back.
Are you serious?
We all laugh. Why are we all here? Come on.
Why are you laughing at me? I'm serious.
I'm open to hearing
it's
one.
Obvious.
Why?
Because have you heard of the term weaving spiders? That's how this stuff works. If you're promoted, like the fact that he's allowed on shows like Coast to Coast, they don't only authorized people are allowed on.
That's true. You just
you don't know what you're talking about. I've actually done research and read books about this.
I know, but I'm saying I was there at the conference and there was people from all sorts of media just grabbing me. HBO grabbed me to talk to me. I didn't weave with spiders. They just said, hey, and they grabbed me and started talking to me.
Okay.
So, I mean, they were talking with everybody. They were talking with people who didn't even have channels. So, and I understand that you do, in order to get a show on there, maybe there's something that you need to be doing, but to be
Patricia, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like anyone who's on Coast to Coast is an obvious agent.
So anybody who gets interviewed on Coast to Coast is an agent.
Yes, clear as fucking day. Like you people are not reading the books that the elite are writing about mass manipulation. Because you guys are so uneducated, it's ridiculous.
Okay, why would the elite write a book about what they're doing in secret and say, "Hey guys, look here"? I mean,
are you serious, Patricia? My God.
Well, P-Mars, are you? You're not even
stupid
question. Clarify your argument. Well, you need to clarify your argument. Are you saying that? Are you saying that? But no, listen. Are you saying that Patricia is an agent, or are you saying that
she's an agent,
somehow
duh.
or that she's
So is fucking Cathexia.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's
So you're
okay.
just ridiculous.
You can believe whatever you
So you're
want,
just a
and it doesn't
ridiculous
hurt
guy.
my feelings.
Actually, I can prove it, you stupid idiot.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Prove it.
Okay. I've already done it on my channel. People, you can go look. I've got the books. I've got everything. It's all talked about.
To prove Mark's an agent and I'm an agent.
Absolutely.
On your channel.
And me.
Absolutely.
And Texas. Well,
absolutely.
I
don't need.
Fuck you all.
It's okay. You have the right. Your opinion.
It's not my opinion. It's in a book, idiot. Read a book sometime. Instead of like
books
sitting
are
on
mind
there
control,
and
P. Mars. You taught me that books are really mind control, dude. It's from the elite. They want you to think that.
And where's your manager?
You fucking Russision troll.
Who's Natasha, by the way? I don't get that.
He's a Russian troll.
Tell him, P. Mars.
Cathexis is an agent. No.
Oh my God!
I think P. Mars is joking right now. You're just joking. Okay, I get
Here
it.
is an agent.
Trolling.
I've been exposed.
At least I got it there. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Did some pills just kick in? I don't know.
He's pro.
Yeah, it was good. I was fooled. I thought April Fool's Day, drugs just kicked in, or whoa, one of the three.
He thinks I'm a Russian agent named Natasha. For some
His
reason.
friends, he's got all these like Russian friends and shit. He's trying to introduce me to and like groom me and shit. So, bitch.
I had a Russian girlfriend once. I don't mean girlfriend like a sexual relationship. She was a girlfriend.
There they go.
There we go.
Off to the races.
No. She she was really pretty cool. She lived in Moscow. She told me all sorts of stories. She grew up in St. Petersburg, and she was interesting, but involved in nothing conspiratorial, nothing involving the government. But
normies.
She was really, she really loved living here. So that's
Patricia pushes the vegan agenda 21. If you read that, they want us all to not eat meat in the future, and that is one of Patricia's little elite agendas that she likes to push because she's a fucking obvious agent.
Right.
That's a broad. Well, hold on. That's kind of
completely
a broad.
untrue.
That's
I've gone
kind
out.
of a big, broad thing. I mean, like there's people in all kinds of industries that promote veganism.
And I've been out.
You guys are just retarded. You should read their agendas and their books. They talk about like how they're enslaving you instead of like wasting your time on flat Earth bullshit.
Okay.
If you're not a vegan, then what does it matter to you?
And I've also been out with Nathan Oakley and his wife, and I bought them dinner, and they ate meat. And what did I tell them not to eat meat? Did I suggest them eating in a vegan restaurant? No, we just went to a regular restaurant. There's no agenda being pushed. I bought them meat. It's like,
you bought that meat, technically speaking. You paid for meat.
No agenda. I have a personal way I live my life, and I do talk about it. But we all have a personal way we live our life and talk about it. Whether it's I went bike riding today, or I lift weights, or I'm on a ketogenic diet, or it doesn't mean you're pushing an agenda. You're just talking to people about what you do, because that's what this is on YouTube.
Correct.
In fact, Cathexis' diet and mine are completely opposite, but I've never yelled at him for eating meat or told him he's a baby
even
killer.
Invited me on.
Yeah, I mean, I've
invited me
never
on
said you
to
kill
explain
baby
it.
animals. I mean, I'm like, you do you, I do me. If you the thing about the promoting veganism is part of Agenda 21, and I'm going to say this and pretend I don't come from a vegan perspective. So right now I'm going to be just a regular person who eats steaks. Okay. If the government, why would the government want you to only eat vegetables? It wouldn't make sense, really.
Well, no, it would. It's to condition people for the communist super state where the communist overlord.
But why would they want to take away the dairy industry, which they subsidize?
Well,
they want to take anything good from people away incrementally. That can be argued.
Yeah, like I understand that perspective of it too. But there's a couple guys on YouTube who kind of explain it in a more sinister sounding way, because if you look at the health of the diet itself, yours being a calorie counting situation or a calorie based diet with vegetables, which is essentially high carbohydrates and very low fat.
But I don't count calories though. I don't.
Well, no, forgive me. What I'm saying is that it's very low fat, very high carb, correct? Vegan in general.
But I mean, you can eat high fat. I ate so many cashew nuts today. I'm like up to here with them, and avocados, and I'd eat whatever I want. Actually, I eat.
Well, the people who think that it's unhealthy for the population, and then by essentially getting everybody into this, you are minimizing choice. You're minimizing what they're. You'd have to listen to some of their videos.
True. I mean, I understand that perspective, but I'm not doing anything where I am attempting.
No, you're not promoting
other people do what I do. People do ask.
No, actually, I've never seen you.
Yeah, people ask me like, hey, privately, and then I'll be like, well, here's what I eat, and here's what and then some people message me, thank you, I started doing this too. I have vegan friends, but I have non-vegan friends, probably about, equal. And I definitely am fine with people chewing on animals' legs in front of me. If I could have a wish, would I make the pain and suffering of animals stop? Yes, I would. But I can't do anything about it. I can only control what I do. And that's all I ever strive to control.
I mean, I've seen vegans out here with way more of a kind of an agenda, like Vegan Warrior. It's in his name, and he does quite a bit of shows on it.
And there's others there's other vegans that aren't involved with Flat Earth who are.
That's what I was about to say. I'm sure you have. Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed within the vegan community.
Vegan Gains.
There is almost like a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vegan Gains, he's like every other word's a swear word, and he's very hardcore about stuff and but you know what? He has a right. It's his channel. So, hey. I'm not a subscriber. I've been a subscriber of the Vegan Gains channel because he's a young kid who did a lot of bodybuilding and became vegan, and I thought it was a cool channel. But then he got kind of weird, so I unsubbed. I guess I do that with anybody, vegan or not. When they go off and start attacking other people, I'm just not interested anymore.
Yeah, they are very aggressive, the vegan community. They seem like nice people.
But just like that guy, John Sackers. Is anybody familiar with him?
I think I've seen that guy. Wait, what does he do? That sounds so.
He does all the really cringy vegan music videos.
That guy is pure.
Oh, I love that guy.
And then there's Freely the Banana Girl, who for a while was very militaristic and then chilled out and started doing ASMR videos. And they're just people, and they have developed a passion for a particular cause. And in some way, regardless of what the cause is, I admire anybody for having passion about something. It's better than most of the people we run across, right? Who are like, oh, well, whatever. Yeah.
The normies. Ugh.
Yeah. And so at least, if it's vegan or if it's this or that, if there's a passion burning in them and they feel that they need to express that to others, it's far better than just somebody who's what they call milquetoast.
I'm passionate about being a normie.
Yeah. Yes, that's so true.
You're on YouTube and your icon is a panda with flowers. How normal can you really be?
Yeah. So, only by accident. And lazy.
I say that we change it up and talk about Anatoly Fomenko and the history hoax, as John Levon has put out here in the chat.
I will say I know nothing about it.
You ever heard?
Well, here's the thing. Real quick, I sent John Levon the link to join this show. So.
Oh no.
I don't know if he's showing. I don't know. He probably wouldn't show. Just warning you guys. Just warning.
Everyone look at the time in Australia.
JLP. He says he's got 500,000 views on his video. He's top level now.
He is top brass.
Dude, Fomenko's a joke. All right, here, I'll continue this conversation later.
You want me to tell you why Fomenko's a joke? But it's not a joke, but it is a joke because he created his own system to date time, and his argument is that he's offering like a specific dollar amount for you to beat him, but you have to use his system.
Gotcha. I can see that. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to change the subject.
Yeah.
We were talking about veganism being a New World Order plot to make people cannibals. Is that what we were saying?
I think I remember hearing that. Wait.
Yeah, that's what they think. Actually, the people who are against veganism. There's a guy named Syringe, but he spells it S3RI, NGE. He is a raw meat ketogenic guy.
Wow.
And mind you, I've been ketogenic for 3.5 years.
Right. And I know you lost a lot of weight and you feel way better about life and everything.
Well, yeah, but I still am pro. If you can get it without eating, if you can get it without eating meat, then by all means. The problem is you have very limited, avocados, coconut oil. And so there's a guy out there who does raw meat ketogenic. That's what I was talking about. This guy, and he eats livers.
Protest and shit. Ate a goat head in front of like.
Yeah, he brought a goat head to a vegan festival and just gnawed on it when he was
now
walking
that
around.
to me isn't even really, if funny as it may be. I mean,
it's not even funny. It's just
no, the troll level is funny. I'm not saying that's nice or decent. I'm just saying that that's pretty outlandish.
He also starved himself prior and like was in a hospital and was like he's had some
when he was a vegan. Yeah, he was a vegan for several years and got very ill.
No, he was
and so
he the breatharian thing is what he was trying to do.
Yeah, that would be some people can
but he was a vegan. The reason why he's so staunchly opposed to it because he was a vegan for about 3 years and got very ill. Just his personal experience, then went the total other way with it. High fat, animal based diet. And then, he did do the breatharian thing for a bit before he went into that. But
look, everyone's different. Everyone's different physiologically. And basically the human body
all
can
have livers.
Everybody can eat plastic basically and survive. Hey, BB, do you have 2 accounts in here? Because if JLB's come out, I don't think there's a spot.
I'm not trying to give anybody gout.
Been there, done that from your dirty ass.
Dude, my ankle started hurting a couple weeks ago, and I told Ed, and he's like, "Dude, you fucking got gout, dude."
Don't you have to have your leg cut off if you have gout or something?
No.
No, it can get bad though.
Yeah.
I think it was called like urea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Your leg gets cut off, you can then eat your own leg. There you
go.
There you go.
Satisfying cathexis's ketogenic urges.
Exactly. At a vegan festival. Perfect.
Walk around my home wall with crutches.
Hey, I'm gonna go. I really enjoyed talking with everybody, but I still have to go to sleep.
Okay.
Cool.
It was good
I've
talking
enjoyed
with
it,
you.
and I've enjoyed the trolling. I've enjoyed the niceness, and congratulations, Vivi. Thank you for having me on, and everyone have a good evening or morning.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
She's pretty
anyway
here.
Yeah, now that the show's
Right.
we can. Now that she's gone, we can talk about her. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna have Flat Earth Reset videos against us tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Let the mentally ill run their asylum, and I mean, people like Muscle Car Rock Lover are literally, and Glenn and some of these people that just hang out in chats and have like hundreds of troll accounts that they go and mass flag and stuff. They're just pathetic. And really, what are we going to do about that? Really, there's nothing. But hey, VB, is JLB coming on? Do you think, Mr. John the Hoaxmaster?
I would love to know what's at the top of the hoax triangle. I mean, it's been long enough, John.
Oh,
the fucking
you didn't know? All right. Well, Jeremy, what was it? Was it Effie drama or what was it?
Is it the history?
I can't remember. Oh, that was funny. Fucking
Hoax triangle. John, we got to know. Is it history at the top of that in the capstone, or is it Effie drama? We got to know.
I like that John LeBlanc was actually like, dude, I was sitting on my YouTube and all of a sudden I'm getting Flat Earth videos. And it's like, well, hold on now. Were you not like looking up conspiracy videos beforehand? And he's like, yeah, but it's like Flat Earth stuff. And it's just, they're trying to promote it. Like he couldn't put together the algorithms, might be just giving him something he'd be interested in. Remember that? Who was there with me when we were? That's what I realized. I was like, "Wow, this guy is crazy." Like, holy shit! He thinks like it's he's so narcissistic that he thought that it was like YouTube was directing it to him. I was like, "Wow!" Shout out to LeBron if he's out there.
Yeah, shout out to Matrix Decode and shout out to Authentic Intent. maybe he's sitting in a jail cell for his.
No, he
flat
got
Earth.
raptured.
Find the fuck
He
out.
got raptured.
He went to heaven or what? What else?
No, he got raptured. His last video was on the 22nd, dude, and gone.
Fucking
He's the
talk
only
about-
one who ever.
That's like
the
top-
rapture happened, and it was only for authentic intent. He was the only real one. Just saying.
Wow.
He was the only
That
real-
makes
So it
sense.
happened, guys.
I guess that's what you got to do to go to heaven. It's fucking camera. But, yeah.
He was the only real one. He's
Damn
up there
it,
by
Kate.
himself.
I found an article not too long ago about Y2K, and there's a potential he might have fucking bunked it up, dude. So this article I found with Y2K, this dude went into a bunker for Y2K. He didn't come out till 2014, and I
Was
swear
that
to
true?
God, I swear to God, I look it up, dude. I swear to God, the article says he is most impressed with the KFC Double Down sandwich. I swear to God, dude.
Dude, that's bullshit, man. That's an excellent advertisement for KFC,
Nah,
dude.
look
Seriously.
it up. Look it up. That shit's legit, dude. So he could be hunkered down. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, authentic intent in a bunker.
I'll put that shit in the. I don't know if I can put that in the chat.
Dude, but how he says it too, he's like, I am most impressed with this KFC chicken. It's like, what, dude? I mean, shit.
That's the best advance in the last 14 years.
Essentially,
it's dumping the bun.
That's America for you, Jeremy. That's America.
Yeah.
Damn. That would have
The
sucked,
best thing
man.
since sliced bread is no bread.
Yep.
Oh, is that what that is? That fucking double chicken nasty heart attack shit?
Yeah.
Two chicken fillets with a piece of cheese and bacon in the middle.
Oh my lord.
Oh Lord.
I know, we have it
No,
here.
it's actually good. It's good for if you're in the ketogenic diet, maybe, but like if you're a normal, if you're a normal American, then you're just adding the calories and you're gonna get fat.
Yeah, that's a true point. I've never had one though.
So
I
you
don't
got
really
JLB
like
coming in.
KFC. Yeah, John said he was
More like
coming.
we talk
John LaHoaxmaster, awesome, man. Because seriously, dude, when he said he quit, there was a piece of my heart that quite literally was broken off and sent to Australia, dude. And so now talking to him now is just it's gonna fulfill me. So
Yeah,
He changed his mind.
It's in,
what an ass!
It's in the chat. It's in the chat, dude. Look at this thing.
He's scared because he's upside down and shit.
He changed his mind in literally a 30 seconds.
What a jackass.
JLB would make this sort of even more epic, though, wouldn't it? This hangout.
We have had.
Oh, he'd come in, he'd be all proper, he'd be like, oh, there's too much dead air, then he'd start talking about all this fucking hoaxery and shit, yeah. Well, you know what?
We're not friends.
He's definitely getting to the bottom of the dinosaurs, I think. I think he's still on a mission or something. He was going somewhere like 6 months ago. I'm not sure how that
Come on,
went.
fam. Come on, fam. Come on in, fam.
He had a revelation
Conspiracy fam.
out in the. He was like, "Wait a minute." His Aboriginal brothers were like, "You don't have to tell them about this." He's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving you too." And then
There's no way he's not coming on now.
His spirit, he toned, or what is it? Owned his spiritual vibes. He was hosting a show tonight, and we were talking shit.
Now he's saying dinosaurs are 100% real, guys. And so I don't know what to think about reality anymore.
Hey,
John.
come and tell us about the one African study where they just used, or wait, they didn't use any Africans, right? They were.
I remember that shit.
Yeah.
I remember that one. Although
Wait, John.
I have heard him refer to that as a time when his mind was changed based on the evidence, and I have heard him say that.
It was actually a good argument that he had.
So
no, well, kind of, because he was referencing primary or a source.
I remember
that he was referencing incorrectly, or he didn't read completely at all.
Right, but
No,
when I've heard him talk about it, he's
absolutely honest about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It still didn't disqualify his argument, though. It's just that was something he didn't clarify.
No, I agree.
It was a study about blood, essentially. I can't remember what the full topic was.
It's basically
John,
that we
wanna-
came from Africa.
It was
from
about the
Africa.
Human Genome Project and the mapping for it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. The
Right.
Out
Yeah.
of
It was about the
Africa
out
theory.
of Africa theory. It is.
Yeah, out of Africa. Yeah.
Ancestry.com and shit.
You gotta get with Jed to see what he is. He's
Oh my
97% something and 3% fucking weirdo, basically.
97% cuck.
What if he was 3%
Or not.
American? It just came back American.
Nice.
That would make my heart sing.
Okay, let's talk about conspiracy for a moment. Do you think it's a good idea to submit your genetics to this company called
No,
Ancestry.com?
I thought that right away. Absolutely
Me,
not.
I'm with you 100%, but it's so strange. Like people are just lining up for this, thinking
Isn't
it's
it-
the best thing ever.
It's
Isn't
the
it owned
Mormons.
by the LDS?
Yeah, it's owned by the Mormons. Okay, Jeremy, would you submit your
I didn't
DNA
know that,
in order
man.
to be
I didn't know that.
categorized?
They do that whole
That's a normie
what they
thing.
call it. They baptize people after death,
Yeah, after death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's.
But would you do it if it was a different company? Like, would you do it at all?
Well,
So-
before I found out who they were, I am on Ancestry.com because I've got quite an unusual surname. It's it's kind of quite useful.
Because you're a normie.
But, so
Proud
I
of
have,
his normie
I have still got a
status.
profile on there, but I wouldn't send them. I don't think I like the idea of sending them my
Of course,
DNA.
Jem is like the most normie thing. Jem was like, well, I have to do it.
Yeah, I
What's
would
the
do
worst
it.
they
if
can
you-
do?
I
if
would
you
do
read
it.
their terms of service, hold on. If you read their terms of service, they state that they will share your information with third parties that pay. So
Well, I have
that's
I have
right
a
there.
I have a family tree that goes back to just before 1600. So, it's kind of an interest for me.
Hold on a second. Isn't that older than what John LeBon says the Earth is? Maybe he should come on the panel.
True, because all of history is fake. Dinosaurs are fake. Nukes are fake. Missiles don't fly in the air because they don't have proper fins or whatever. So, damn, dude, his research methodology is absolutely
Oh,
Oh, do we lose the phones?
Nice, your cell phones.
well, good talking to you guys. I guess I don't know. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, they go.
cell phone. Yeah. John is an especially he's in a league of his own, right?
He's gonna come up. He's a good researcher, dude. I'll give him that.
Dude, he is, and he has wit. That's what's so funny and just peculiar about his case is that he's absolutely mental when it comes to all the conspiracies and beliefs that he holds. But he sounds smart when he's saying it, and that's what's most important for people.
Right, but he is smart. He's very eloquent, isn't he? Let's face it.
Oh, yes, yeah.
He's his delivery is very professional as well. He could actually be an agent.
No, Validation Boy has a nice delivery when I do my narrated pieces. I think I'm better than John LeBon a little bit.
Yeah, when you rip the bong and like 20 minutes later you come back, man, those are so great, dude. Talk about dead air, man. Fucking dead.
No. I'm talking about I'm talking about my narrated pieces.
Delivery.
Oh, well, you're the consummate professional always, Nat, of course.
Oh, Nathan Oakley, yeah, that's what I love when Dell does you, and he's like, he gets all proper.
Have you seen Chris Truthseeker do an impression of you, Nathan? It's on his channel. Have you seen it?
Nah.
Go to his channel and look at his opening video right now.
Weird, wasn't it? Chris Truthseeker for doing
that's-
humor. It's not. Doesn't
I've
really.
got nothing against.
I've been Nathan Oakley.
I got nothing against Chris, but that was a bit weird. Just saying.
I'll have to go there and thank him for the advert.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Nathan,
I've
what are
actually. Go ahead, VB.
I was just saying, Nathan, what are the consequences of you staying up this late to participate in the 1-year anniversary of Validation Boy live stream?
Consequences? There aren't any consequences.
Your consequences for tomorrow's workday.
Oh, he means do as thou wilt, guys.
It makes no difference. The only thing that it'll affect is no, it won't affect anything. I'll be up this time anyway. I'm an insomniac and I've got a kid, so I don't get very much sleep. That said, I'm going to leave you to it and go to bed. So thank you for having me.
Get him
Right,
right.
Take care, Nathan.
Wow. Damn.
Take it easy, Nathan.
Thanks,
See
Nathan.
what
Thanks for
you
joining.
did.
Been a
See what you
pleasure.
did, VB.
Look what you made me do. Oh no. Oh no.